Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of In My Cousin's Basement. I am your co-host, Tim Patrick, and with me always is my little Stan, Kyle, whatever. I think you'd be Stan Randu. How's it going, brother?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
Same shit, different pals. Nothing new, exciting, or anything going on.
Well, we're back in the podcast. How about that?
Yes, we are.
I can't believe it's been 3 and almost a month and something.
Yeah. Wow.
Must
That's
be
crazy.
Must be just because I'm on PTO. We can actually get time to do something.
Exactly. See, I'm available all the time, and then now you're going to be available all the time.
That'd be
So
nice.
we get some shit going.
Yeah. So what do we got on the old podcast today?
On the
Tim?
old podcast today, something that's near and dear to our hearts and the hearts of the certain Americans. I can't say everybody because there's snowflakes out there and everything. But South Park.
Dude, I've been wanting to talk about South Park on a podcast probably for 5 years since I started podcasting.
Yeah.
There's just so much that goes into
Oh,
it.
God, yeah.
I mean, 25 years of South Park. I mean, it's at least 25 years been going on. This might be-
97, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like- it came
So
out-
26. Yeah.
Yeah, it came out in 97. This is our 26th year.
Yeah.
I know this is like kind of different than our regular podcast talking about just movies and traditions and nostalgia, but this is nostalgic for me,
Oh,
really.
yeah.
I mean, anybody who didn't grow up with South Park and knows something about it, I mean, you must live in a cardboard box if you've never heard
Oh,
South
definitely.
Park or watched an episode.
Right.
I know there's some people who hate it because they just don't understand the humor, or they kind of associate South Park with, dick and fart jokes, kind of like they did Beavis and Butthead. Like if
Right.
you didn't grow up with it and you're not immature, you can't understand it. But what people don't understand about South Park is it was made for adults. It's an adult
Right.
cartoon.
Mhm.
It's probably the best adult cartoon that's ever been made, in my opinion. And without it, I think cartoons wouldn't stand to exist nowadays. Like adult cartoons, like there wouldn't be Rick and Morty,
Yeah.
and there wouldn't be
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
yeah, there wouldn't be
or any of
Adult
those.
Swim, for
Yeah,
Cartoon
exactly.
Network, right?
Exactly.
Like that kind of stuff all spawned, I think, from South Park saving kind of Comedy Central. A lot of people don't know that either. South Park saved Comedy Central
Yeah.
during the heydays of internet, just regular TV when we were kids in the
Mm-hmm.
early '90s and 2000s. So without that, you wouldn't have Comedy Central. And I think Comedy Central still only exists today because of South Park and some of the shows they still have. And they're like, Jon Stewart. People used to say, "Oh, everyone loves his show." Well, people don't realize it's like he was on after South Park, and most of his ratings were because of South Park, because
Right.
a lot of people would stay or just leave the TV probably on for him when he was watching after the show.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I don't really have like any big topics on South Park, but I'm just gonna go down and talk about South Park as a whole, like nostalgic stuff of South Park and like random facts and stuff. So, spoilers if anybody's knows how South Park, we're gonna be spoiling some stuff of South Park here pretty soon.
Oops.
But what I can say, and then I'll kick off some of the stuff, is like when I first saw South Park in 1997, I was at my grandma's house, of all places. All right? Not Grandma Grady, but
Yeah,
Grandma Van on my
yeah.
side. My
Georgina.
dad's side, yeah.
Yeah.
And we were gathered around the TV in the other room where the kids were watching TV, and somebody put on, it was Santa versus Jesus, the
The original.
the co-pilot, or what are they called? There's
The
another
pilot. Just pilot.
just pilot.
Yeah.
There's someone else that had a different name for him. I'm trying to remember what it was called. But either way, they called it the precursor. That's what it was, the word I was looking for. I was like, man, what is this show? And I started watching it. And I'm sitting there with my cousins and whatever. And my mom's like, should you be watching this or whatever? Because how it was just something new.
You were 10.
Yeah, I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I love this. I laughed so hard, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And it was a Christmas. It was Santa versus Jesus, so it was like it felt Christmassy at the
Yeah.
time. So like it was like, this is really cool. I just thought it was just a show for Christmas. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'll watch this every year. And then come to find out, that was the precursor show that blew up South Park and made it to what it is today. Like
Right.
people fell in
Loved
love with it.
Right. They wanted more.
They wanted more, and that's where I started with South Park. My sister Ashley was 8 at the time, and she watched it too, and she fell in love with it as well. Like we've always had a bond over it since we've been a kid. So, yeah. Done with my rant, but when's the first time you saw
First
South
time
Park?
I saw him, I was in high school. It was my senior year, and I saw a commercial with what's coming up, on later on the day for for Comedy Central. Like, 3:00, this is that, whatever. And then I saw a woman come out and say, or a child, Cartman, of course, saying, "Mommy, Kitty's being a dildo," and then and the mother answering, "I know, a certain little kitty's gonna sleep with mommy tonight," and I just lost it right there. I was like, "Fucking, that is fucking amazing."
Yeah.
How are they getting away with that? And I was watching Comedy Central because back then they showed movies constantly.
Good movies.
Not all of them. They showed some stand up stuff like the old Carlins or some of the underground people, but they actually showed good movies. But then when I saw that they had a cartoon on there with that, I was like, I'm gonna give that a shot. And fucking, I loved it, dude. That was just, I was just like, wow, this is Beavis and Butthead times, supreme.
Yeah.
Because Beavis and Butthead was still around, but
Yeah.
they could only get away with so much because of MTV.
The raunchiness was like 5 levevels up from Beavis and Butthead.
Exactly.
Like no one's ever seen this kind of stuff going on. And I think when it first came out, so a little backstory of South Park is when it first came out, it was just a pilot in Colorado University because that's where Matt and Stone, Trey Parker, the creators, they met in college or whatever, and they've been friends for a long time. And they only had Cartman and Kenny at the time,
Right.
and some weird thing they made, and everybody loved it in school.
Yeah, they used cardboard paper or construction paper and stop motion photography.
Yeah.
I think it took like 3.5 months to make the Santa versus Jesus one for the pilot.
But pre Santa and Jesus,
Yeah.
they just did this as a class project or whatever, and
Yeah.
then someone saw it and invested in them, and they made like a couple like side movies, and the movies failed and bombed, and they're like, you know what, these guys are kids, they're in college, and he went back to him, he's like, hey, remember that pilot thing you guys made in school, with Cartman and Kenny or whatever, Kenny got ripped apart or whatever, and they're like, yeah, like make me something like this, and I want to show some people. So what he ended up doing was they made like the Santa versus Jesus thing on a VHS, and they sent it in. And come to find out, George Clooney was one of the people they sent the tape to.
Yeah.
And then they sent it to all their friends, and they sent it to their friends, and then like wildfire blew up, dude.
Right.
That's like a cool thing that most people just don't know, like where South
That's how
Park's
what
gone.
that's how a lot of people
Word of
bands or word of mouth people get popular is because of that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It took someone like George Clooney's power
Right.
to do it, and they had no idea for years like who the friend was or whatever, and they found out later, and then you find out George Clooney in one of the episodes make a guest appearance in one of the episodes, which is really funny. But
he was Sparky.
yeah. At the time they actually didn't call it. I think in school it was called Jesus versus Frosty because it was like Frosty the Snowman or whatever, and then they changed it to Santa versus Jesus or whatever like that later.
That was back then when Cartman was actually named Kenny. Cartman didn't have the name.
Right, they had the reversal roles in
Yeah,
the name.
and then they switched them. Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that. That's a lot of people don't know about that one. Kenny wasn't really the way he was, and he wasn't as dirty as he was. And Cartman, they kind of had split Cartman in half, kind of to make a Kenny and him.
Yeah, you know who Cartman's inspired by?
Inspired by
this is only true fans really know this one. I found
somebody his friend in high school, or was it high school?
Well, not where he got his name, but who like the comedy and who inspired him.
Oh,
you'd know this if you heard it.
I probably do.
Well, anyway, I'll just tell you anyway.
Yeah.
He was inspired from Archie Bunker.
Oh yeah.
From All in the Family.
Yeah, that's right.
That was like one of their favorite shows growing up.
That makes a lot of sense.
He's such an asshole.
Yeah,
and he's just a dick
hates
to everybody.
everybody.
Yeah, hates everybody. So they're like, let's make Archie Bunker into like an 8-year-old.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where it spawned into Cartman. And then you're right. For Cartman to get created, it was
Eric Hartman.
Nope.
No,
it wasn't him. I used to think that was who it was too.
That's what I read that.
It's wrong. I watched the whole thing about it. So their friend Matt and Stone, Trey Parker, they were trying to come up with a name for Cartman at the time. So they were at one of their buddies' house from college, and they're watching the football game. And the guy goes, "God, Cartman, you suck," or something like that, or whatever. And one of his friends' name is Matt Cartman. He's like, "That's what we're gonna call the fat guy." And then his friend Matt Cartman was like, "Fuck you, dude! You're not calling him that." So yeah. That was a childhood friend. That's where they got the name from.
Do you know what Eric's middle name is?
Yes, I do. Let me think for a second.
And
was it Theodore?
Yep.
Yep.
But here's that's the easy question. The hard question: how many times have they actually said his middle name?
Twice.
Just once.
Once.
Just once. Because after they said it, he would be Eric T. Cartman.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Is that in the 90s when they first said it or something?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that his middle name, but that's one of those things that South Park fan would know.
Right.
But yeah, so going from there, from when they first spawned South Park, they've had a lot of stuff over the years that people have kind of disagreed with, which made which made their song better. Made the show better. Like for example, like the dick and fart jokes, like Cartman fart and fire and all that kind of stuff in like first Alien or the Cartman gets an anal probe in the first episode ever. A lot of parents and people are like, this is gross and this is this is awful, and they doubled down and said, oh, we're gonna push harder now because this is what it would, and all it did was grow what was going on, because as a parent and you have young kids, I would definitely get it. It's like you don't want them watching this and growing up. But it's like this wasn't intended for kids. Like you were saying earlier,
Comedy Central.
How they get away with it? Because they showed it at 9:30 at night. Right. After a certain time, they realized that hey, kids are supposed to be in bed. They're supposed to be they're not supposed to be watching the show. So they couldn't get their hand slapped, and all these people. So they got away with it. That was like a loophole they found.
Right. Yeah.
But like you said too, also Comedy Central. When I was a kid, I didn't watch it that much. Like they had good shows on there. Like once in a while, like shows you wouldn't see on most TV channels. Like a lot of good comedies. And I never watched the stand-up as much as I did, but as I got older, then I started watching stand-up. That's where I got into a lot of comedian stuff, not just from my buddies who were really into comedians, but Comedy Central grew my my comedy just as a whole through the comedians, like Carlin and people like that watching when I was a kid.
And watching Ben Stein's Money and The Man Show.
Dude, I totally forgot about Ben Stein's Money.
Dude, I love that show.
I love that show too.
Jimmy Kimmel's, that's where his start was.
Yeah, Ben Stein, and then you said the Man Show. Man Show when they were actually, that was cool.
Yeah, I love that one.
The Juggies?
Yes, the Juggies. That one guy who could chug a beer just like one sip.
2 sips.
Yeah, just
yeah. He ended up dying, I think.
Yeah, a few, not too long ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was good. There's a lot of stuff on Comedy Central that they just got rid of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're changing it for the times or if they were just because they weren't doing so good or what. I don't know, but they had so much good stuff on there that
we do a disservice. We didn't name Dave Chappelle on there, right?
Of course.
I mean, Dave Chappelle. Besides South Park, fucking carried this Comedy Central forever,
And if you think about it, because you were talking about how South Park got away with a lot of stuff, they would make fun of everybody. I mean, literally, Muhammad, black people, white people, Jewish people, whatever. They made fun of everybody.
Right.
But if you think about it, Comedy Central had a wave of, if I move my hands around again, had a wave of certain kinds of comedy. Like someone with as the years go by, like one year it was Dave Chappelle was big, making fun of black person making fun of white people, But then after that, somebody got offended. They started having Mexicans, so they got Carlos Mencia out making fun of everybody, and then after that they went back to white people making fun of everybody.
I didn't notice that when I was a kid because you're kind of oblivious to that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
When Carlos Mencia first came in, I remember I thought he was okay. I just never saw him as he never grabbed my attention like he was super funny. Right. And when you come out and find out later, he was stealing most people's jokes and claiming them as his own. Right. That really screwed everything up with him, and I kind of was like, good, because I hate you anyway. So he was really big for like 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
He just blew up for some reason, and then I think the comedy scene. I think I've heard Joe Rogan say this before. Every comedian that knew him were like, "Dude, fuck this guy." How did he get at mainstream comedy? And you probably made a great point by saying that is diversity. They wanted someone else in diversity because they're bitching about whatever. But like you're saying, during that time, it was a wave. Like when Chappelle came out, he made fun of everybody too. He didn't make fun of just black people or white people. He made fun of everybody, and people could relate to it and laugh at it because they're like, "Hey, this is funny." The skit comedy, whatever you want to call it, improv. Mm-hmm. It was the first time you've ever seen anybody do it. So it really, resonated, I think, with a lot of people. Like, wow, this is fucking funny. And it's relatable because this is true. Right. Same thing with South Park. A lot of stuff they did at first was just random. And as the years went on, they started making things more relevant to people. Yeah. It wasn't just like, hey, we're going to do a dick and fart joke and a throwaway. It was more like, hey, this episode's going to be themed, and that's when it started getting even changing. A lot of people didn't like that, but I liked it. For the first 5 or 10 seasons, I can't remember which one when they actually first stopped, but each episode never went back to back with each other. And when they started doing hey, this episode leads in this episode and then this episode, I enjoyed it because I could say as a South Park fan, or even just Matt and Stone and Trey Parker, they probably got bored of doing the same creative shit over and over again. Like, how many times can we make a random episode? Like, let's start making them together.
Right.
You know, like
I think it's for me. I'm not sure how I do know how they make their cartoons, but like if you think about it, if you have like a giant or a great idea that can stretch out so long, that's probably why they did it.
Yeah.
Because I could just say, okay, let's have a story where let's see, they go out in the middle of the jungle. Okay, well, they go make them out there all day, all week, whatever, stuff like that. Have Cartman beat up the snake or the bad monkey.
Yeah.
And
Smacks
that
with a stick.
Yeah,
When they go
that
in
kind of crap.
The rainforest.
Yeah, with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
That could easily one episode. Where do you go from there? That's why I think it's a great idea if they do, like you said,
That was your field
the
trip.
ones that fill into each other.
Yeah.
That's actually like how sitcoms or comedies, not comedy. Yeah, sitcoms are like that. They continue the story, and it makes you want to watch the next episode because you want to know what's going on.
They're really good. The thing that made South Park so great was not just the episodes and how fresh everything felt when you're watching it, but the hook at the end when you're like, man, that was so good. I want to watch it again. Like
cliffhanger, yeah.
I mean, no, just not the cliffhanger, just the hook at the end. How they get you, and they would be like, man, that was so good. Now, obviously, that's not for everybody. I understand that, but for me, I was obsessed with it, man. Like I still am.
Not where I was gonna say, not where are.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's on TV, I put it on. I watch it still this day. I've seen every episode many times, so it's not like something that I'm like, every time it's on, I get obsessed with watching. But when I was a kid, I was very, very obsessed with it. Like I look forward to it. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
In the heydays of TV too, when they had VHS, I used to record them and they get recorded over or whatever when you had to record over tapes and stuff, which was cool. But I was that guy that I knew the date they were coming out at Blockbuster because I would talk to someone at Blockbuster. Throwback for Blockbuster, anybody remembers. But back in those days, like when South Park first came out and after the first season, like they sold it at Blockbuster. Like, what a smart idea. And I saw it, dude. I was like, Mom, Dad, I have to have this. And I used to watch it religiously at my house over and over again. Probably where I got a lot of my potty mouth shit from when I got older and stuff. But
I think so.
But me and my friends liked it. Obviously my friends probably couldn't watch it at their house, but my mom didn't.
Went to your house.
Yeah. And my sister loved it as well. But
right.
I still have my entire VHS collection downstairs in my room, and I'm like, dude, I will cherish this forever because I had so many good memories of me watching stuff with the physical, copies of it on there. But now, obviously, you can get it and watch it anywhere on SouthParkStudios.com and stuff like that. But there was something that was just cool at the time about collecting them and having them. It was like, I have this physical stuff. It was really cool. And then they started coming out with merch and everything. I was like, I got to get this. And dude, I had a weird obsession with it. I mean, it wasn't a weird obsession. It was just, I enjoyed it. It was like it wasn't a hobby, but it was just more like something that gave me enjoyment. Let's say like that for at a young age. But to get back off my nostalgic kick of what I was doing back then. But so after the pilot and all this stuff came out, South Park just blew up. And it was like, it was like there was no like line in the sand, like I'm a Beavis and Butthead guy or I'm a South Park guy. It was like everybody was like they're South Park people if they're cartoon fans. Because Beavis and Butthead started dying kind of during that time, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to go downhill, like in the later
that's when
90s.
MTV started going downhill, so they went downhill.
Yeah. So, like, I remember, and I'm just going to go randomly around with South Park right now, but after that, they started, blowing up, and every season became better and better, in my opinion. It wasn't going anywhere. It was just getting more hyped up. I remember this episode, and I remember them talking about this one on their episodes, was they hated Family Guy.
Right.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I know, and this is where it started getting bigger because Family Guy came out way after South Park, and obviously Family Guy wouldn't be around without South Park, right?
Exactly.
But the Simpsons were still around because the Simpsons were kind of the OG,
Yeah.
adult cartoon or kid family friendly cartoon.
Yeah.
And they asked him, they're like, "Why do you hate Family Guy?" Seth Rogen's like, "I've never hated South Park," and they're like, "We hate Family Guy because they think that the writing is lazy for comedy, and they think that their jokes are lazy as well." And they said they kind of stole some of the South Park stuff that they used in their show, but and they're pissed off about it, and I think that's why people are like, why do you hate so much? It's like, well, that's why Matt Stone and Trey Parker hate it much, because they have a deep love for what they created, and they don't want anybody stealing their idea and using it, and so they thought there was someone doing the lazy man South Park and stealing their idea pretty much.
Right. I thought it was funny that the Simpsons sent Trey and Matt flowers because they made fun of Family Guy.
Yeah.
To say thanks, man. We appreciate it. We're on your team.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Well,
that's awesome.
That's when they made the episode Simpsons Did It.
Exactly.
And that was such a good episode because they couldn't.
They couldn't come up with any ideas because every idea they came
if
up
you guys
with.
have never seen that episode, the premise of it is the South Park have an episode, and the whole episode, Butters is trying to come up with an idea of how to take over the world, I think,
Right.
or whatever, with Dr. Chaos and Professor Chaos and what's his sidekick?
Oh, shit. What is that kid's name?
Well, regardless, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. His little sidekick, he every time they came up with a plan to take over the world, he'd be like, "You can't do it." They're like, "Why? Simpsons did it." And I was like, "What the?" The whole episode. I thought it was hilarious because it's true. Like everything they try to do, they can relate back to Simpsons because obviously the Simpsons have been on for probably 15, 20 years at that point that they've been on. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan, and I know my friend that's a girl that listens to our podcast,
General Disarray.
General Disarray. That's right. I always ask her if she likes South Park, and she tells me she doesn't like it because she really can't stand the voices, or maybe she just doesn't really like the show at all. And maybe it's just because she never really sat down and actually watched the show and enjoyed it, in my opinion. So if you're listening to this, make sure you sit down and watch it, enjoy it, and,
Watch. No.
and laugh.
Because it's funny.
And don't be closed-minded. I'm just joking. But she likes Family Guy, and it's like, okay, so are you one of those people that draw the line in the sand and say Family Guy's better because X, Y, and Z, or just because you've only watched Family Guy and you just don't care for South Park? Like,
Right.
I get it, different
yeah.
strokes for different folks, but to me, Family Guy does have its moments. There is some funny fucking shit on Family Guy,
yeah.
especially as they've gotten older. I think they do a good job of.
They got away with more stuff. That's why.
Yes, they've got away with more stuff, but at the same time, if I had to pick between the two, South Park, there's no choice. South Park beats it any day of the week, and I guarantee you, if you asked anybody who's a big comedy fan, would choose South Park over Family Guy. But I guess it's whatever you grow up with too. You might have a deep love for it because you grew up and watched it all the time, right? So,
Right.
I don't know. What do you think about it between the two?
Honestly, I would pick South Park just because they're like you said, the OGs are the ones that, made fun of people and got away with stuff. You have to thank Comedy Central big time for that because they're the ones that says what aired, what doesn't air, and even the censorship committee or whatever. They're the ones that says what gets put out. And Family Guy, it was funny, but they got canceled, of course, because people weren't finding them funny.
Yep.
But then once they came back a few years later, that's when they started blowing up because people were like, "Hey, this actually is kind of funny." It's more relevant because they do talk about nostalgic stuff, and that's what people want sometimes. And they also talk about things that are going on right now.
Yeah.
At least not like South Park is like on their fingers like perfectly on the pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It only takes them 6 days to make an episode.
Yep.
But on top of that, they're just on it.
Yeah. The great thing about South Park is if they predict things or things happen just kind of Simpsons do. They see the future. Matt and Trey do. They must just be just good, geniuses when it comes to this art form of doing cartoons and comedy. But they see the big picture even when it comes to pop culture or things are coming down the lane about anything, and it becomes true. Like when they did something like from 2010, now it's relevant in 2013. They're like, or 2023. They're like, how did you see that? And they're like, well, we made this 10 years ago. We saw the writing on the wall pretty much. That shit is what makes them geniuses, in my opinion.
I mean, hell, they even predicted the presidential thing with McCain and Obama.
Yeah.
They were going to make 2 episodes of it, but then no, there's like, what, that's going to take too much time. Let's just make one with Obama, and Obama ended up winning.
Yep.
It's just like, wow, guys, that's awesome.
Obama, when Randy gets drunk, he's in the street, he gets fired.
No, this is America.
That was such a good episode.
Great episode. One of my favorite ones was the Osama bin Laden one.
Osama bin Laden was good. That was a really good one.
I love that one. Just something about that one that it's just kind of nostalgic because it was part Bugs Bunny cartoon, but then you had the rest of it. That's how the world was.
They do a really good job of incorporating when they do some of those episodes when they incorporate other stuff like from the original Looney Tunes. They do Mimsy and whatever it's called, Rocky and Bullwinkle. From Rocky and Bullwinkle, the 2 idiots that always are like whatever they scream. Yeah. Well, then they use the guys that are handicapped, Mimsy, whatever, and they stole that from Looney Tunes. And they actually got the blessing from the people at Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, to do that, which I'm sure because they're in cahoots with them now and they're paying money for it or whatever from Paramount. But stuff like that is why they're good and they're creative. Like you're saying, 6 days to create an episode. Who can do that? Nobody else can do that.
Dude, that's over like there's only 48 hours. Let's see, 168 hours in a week.
Yeah.
And that's 6 days of is almost like 100 some odd fucking hours of work.
I'll tell you what. There's been days that I've watched some things. They did that special episode where they watch him build an episode in 6 days and they aired it or whatever.
I love that.
That was so cool to see him like in the background of actually like what they do. But come to find out too is there's days that they might build it for 3 or 4 days and they might rewrite it on the fucking day before and say we have to get it done. And all the people that are in there, they'll crunch in and get it done because they don't. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people that work there, they don't get paid for 12 months. They're not working for 12 months. They're working for 6 months.
Right.
But now that they've blown up, they're working all year round. But at one point in time, they were only working for 6 months, but they got paid for 12.
Right.
So like they were married to their job for 6 months when South Park came out. I thought that was cool.
Oh yeah.
Matt and Trey could do that and say, hey, we're going to do this, but at the same time, you guys get off for 6 months of the year, and you might have to work little projects here and there.
Right.
Like, what a cool job. In my
Fuck
opinion.
yeah, dude. I mean, even with when they had the COVID episode, when everybody was not allowed to go to the office, Trey and Matt bought them, thousands of $5,000 computers, to work at home to make a cartoon while the people are at home.
Even more, it was even more than that. Something like those writing boards they have, like $20,000.
That's what it was. Okay,
yeah.
I mean, they did that for them. I mean, how many bosses would do that?
Nobody.
I understand if you want to buy somebody a little laptop or something like that, but no, this is a big ass fucking drawing tablet thing.
Pretty much, they mimicked their office environment and brought it all the way home.
Exactly.
And now they told them, I was reading something about it, that they have both. They can go in the office and use it, and they can work from home. And so they have the flexibility of doing whatever. And at this point in time, when a lot of people don't know this either, but South Park, after the 25th season, got offered from Paramount $980 million.
Yes.
Not imagine saying you got $980 million to do their 7 seasons of a cartoon.
Right.
How many people can get offer that kind of money?
Exactly.
Nobody. There's nobody in the history of cartoons that got to offer that kind of money. So like stuff like that shows you how much people want it to stay around and how much traffic and money, and not money, just like I would say viewership they still get after 25 years. And that's fucking crazy.
Viewership, the merchandise, all that shit.
I mean,
video games.
I mean, let me ask you this real quick, because to me, you growing up, The Simpsons was South Park to you when growing up when I was a young kid, probably, because when you were 10, Simpsons was around, right?
Yeah.
The Simpsons have died off. Like they're not. They're still around, but people are like, kill it. Like stop showing the show. Like nobody watches anymore. I think are they finally at the point where they're going to kill off and die off, or are they just keep going?
That's the thing. It's because a lot of the actors, a lot of the one of the creators died. There's a lot of people that are getting too old. Because a lot of their actors already were in their 30s, 40s when it started. Now they're in their 60s.
Yeah, like the girl that does Bart Simpson.
Yeah,
she does around
Nancy Cartwright. Yeah,
she does like I think Cameo on the Cameo website.
Yeah.
I've seen her on there, and I think she obviously goes around and still does her voice. But she even said like she's like getting to the point where like I love people that recognize me for Bart Simpson, but she's like I kind of want to put him to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
people don't know she does Chucky from Rugrats,
Yep.
and a lot of other voices. I mean, not just Bart. She does like 10 or 12 voices on The Simpsons, amongst other things. And she was an actress. I forgot what movie. I actually watched the movie the other day. She was in it. I was like, oh shit.
That's funny.
Even the lady girl who does Lisa, she doesn't do many voices, but she does do a few. And she was an actress, and she was in one of my favorite horror movies. And it's just like, these people are getting old. It's not just the shows getting old; it's they're getting old.
Well, I think at this time and age, it's like there's nostalgic stuff with Simpsons, and a lot of people love the first like 20 season or 15 season. I guess they're diehard fans, and they kind of said they're like, we want to see it stop. Like a lot of people don't want South Park to stop, and there'll be a time and place. Matt and Trey said we'll know when to stop the show because fans are going to probably tell us like some fans are going to want it forever. Like some people want Simpsons forever, but you have to get to a point where like you got to kill off something, let it die off, right?
Yeah. Simpsons already have the longest running
show
ever. They way surpassed the Flintstones, who held the original title for that for like 15 years or something like that. But it is me personally, being a big Simpsons fan and growing up with them, I think it is about time to hang it up. I get that, if you get a fresh pair of eyes by getting new writers in there, they have different stories they can do and stuff like that. But, I love the goofiness of Homer because it reminds me of me a lot, and then the mischief of Bart. But it's just like, guys, I don't think there's any much else you guys could do.
It was good because it was family oriented and relatable, like having
Yeah.
a crazy family, brother, sister, whatever. Obviously, not, a lot of stuff doesn't hold true for a lot of people. It's made up or whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, it was on regular TV. So
Right.
when regular TV was big, The Simpsons were relevant. Now that TV is kind of dying, and it's been dying for the last, I'd say, 5 to 7 years, ever since streaming became a thing.
Yeah.
And people don't want to pay $200 to watch fucking cable TV, right? I mean, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about. But Simpsons, since they haven't really migrated off to a streaming service, really, where people can watch them, I'd say maybe they have, but people don't
Disney.
give it.
It's on Disney.
Is it on Disney?
Yeah.
People don't give a shit. Like the younger generation of kids aren't watching Simpsons. They're watching South Park. The same things that we grew up watching because people know how funny and how relevant it is. They're just not relevant anymore. They're not mainstream. They're not pop culture. That's just the way I look at them nowadays.
Plus, what Simpsons were really good about was just, like you said, about being relevant. And then they incorporated things in the news and the stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I don't know, last time I seen an episode, it's been a few years. But last episode I watched, there was a lot of not adult humor being like, dick and fart jokes or cussing or anything like that, but like something you had to be an adult to understand. I think Bart was going through something, or Homer was, like coming of age kind of thing. You have to be an old quote unquote person to understand some of the jokes in there. And that's not good, because then you're going to get a kid just going to sit there and just, deer in headlights.
If it doesn't serve as a double entendre where it surfaces for kids and adults, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
It's just not going to work for those kind of cartoons. And that's why the original Simpsons was good. That's why South Park's been good, because it serves as both, really more for adults, but there is certain things for kids that are funny in there. But at the same time, it's probably not age appropriate for most kids. But Simpsons was.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's why Nickelodeon was so great, because you could watch it with your kids when we were young. Rugrats. Rocko's Modern Life, had a lot of adult stuff in there, but a lot of kid stuff. And when you're a kid, you just didn't know.
You wouldn't catch it, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't catch it. But if it's an adult, you're like, wow, this has got some funny jokes for adults in it. Why is that? Because they wanted to service both, because they knew their parents would be watching with their kids.
Right. And the parents are the ones that buy the merch and shit like that.
That's right.
That's why I used to tell people like Shrek. I used to put off Shrek, like Shrek is stupid. I don't want to see this. And once I finally found watch it, and I'm like, this is pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. I was saying, like, well, it's not just geared towards kids, because the parents are the ones that buy the merch, the ones that take the kids to the movie theater, and all this other stuff.
That's
so they have to appeal to both.
That's why Disney and Pixar and all that stuff, and then we go back to South Park, because we can go down a rant on this whole, is that's why they're failing. To me, I'm glad Bob Iger is getting called to step down from Disney. Really, he's getting his ass handed to him because they've lost so much fucking money.
Right.
But to me, they need to go back to their roots, making cartoons about being funny and that serves for both kids or whatever, and leave the political shit out of fucking little kids' cartoons. You want to make a political cartoon or something, make a South Park or something where you can make funny shit or say shit.
Right.
And just leave that stuff out there, dude. Go back to your roots of making good cartoons.
Yeah,
Toy Story.
cartoons, not live action fucking TV shows.
Right. I think
movies.
we've talked about it before, but it's like, why was Toy Story good? Why was Frozen good? Why was Lion King or all these other stuff that people love? Because it was a fucking cartoon. It was just about the cartoon. There was nothing else in it that said anything else about anything else.
Right.
Crying about some group that they get representation, or inserting some bullshit that some little kid's like, I don't have no idea what you're talking about, what it is, but the adults do, and like, why the fuck are they putting this towards a 5-year-old kid?
Right. Kid's not gonna fucking
Make
know
me
about that.
make me find a Nemo. Like, make me movies like that,
Right.
and they're gonna stay successful. But lately, all their they're not even cartoons, but their digital or animated shows have sucked. I don't know if you know this, because they got rid of Tim Allen. They're begging Tim Allen to come back to do the next Toy Story.
Oh, I bet.
Because because
that was their cash cow.
not just that, because having Woody and Buzz together is, you have to have the dynamic duo to do Toy Story. In my opinion, you can't have one without the other in the story. But also, they got rid of him because he leans a different direction than fucking Disney did, and it's like, okay, so does he make good shit for your guys' cartoons? Yes. Does he talk about politics in there? No. Well, what the fuck are you guys doing here? Just pay the guy to do his shit, and then what he does outside of stuff, you don't have to agree with. Like,
Right.
I hate this generation of people, man, that are like, they can't look at it. It's like, the guy's good at his job. Do him for his job, not for what he agrees with outside of stuff. This is why so many things have been ruined, and then I'll shut up about that. Sorry, but if that was Matt and Trey, they'd be like, I don't give a fuck, nowadays.
Yeah, fuck you.
Like when it came to South Park, and people don't know this either, unless you were a South Park fan. I'm going to keep saying this because most people don't know this, but it's like Chef was a big part of South Park for a long time. Yeah. And when they made fun of Scientology, he got a lot of pushback. I'm assuming they didn't talk about it, but I guarantee they publicly. But I guarantee he did, because Isaac Hayes, who played Jeff, was a big Scientology person. I guarantee he got a lot of bullshit from Scientology and said, "Dude, you got to get off this. Like, we're not gonna let you allowed to be in Scientology no more if you're gonna be around this." And I think that pushed him off the show because they made fun of his religion so much, and they didn't give a fuck.
Right.
You know, so a lot of people didn't know that either. But they'll come out and say that Isaac Hayes didn't leave because of that, because he was sick and he was getting whatever. We know from other people that worked at, have said like there was some heat between them for doing that, whatever.
Right.
He caught a lot of bullshit. So
Right. I actually thought those episodes were good because not just making fun of Scientology is that they got so much flack for having the Scientology, and people try to sue them over it. But you know the little inside joke with about people trying to sue Tom Cruise
coming out of the closet.
No, there's an inside joke
or the fudge packing one.
No, the credits. Do you ever watch the credits?
Yeah, I always watch credits. But what happened? I just don't remember.
The purpose. This is the reason why. This is something you don't know. Which is great. The reason why they did this is because they didn't want Tom Cruise to sue them at all. If you look at every single name in the credits, it says John Smith. Everybody.
Oh, John Smith, because from Scientology. Yeah.
Yes, every single name is so their crew doesn't get sued by Tom Cruise or anybody else. Every single name says like created by John Smith, executive producer John Smith, written by John Smith. Every single one. I actually had to look it up to see if that was true, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's hilarious, man.
They're just smart.
Yeah.
They just know.
They love their crew. They love their people.
Well, they always try to, people always try to cancel them, slap them lawsuits, and they laugh in their face. And
they even tried to cancel themselves, like a couple seasons ago. They had that hashtag cancel South Park.
Yeah, I remember
it didn't fucking work.
No, people thought it was funny and they ran with it and just made it even more relevant. But,
exactly. That's what I love about them is they just don't give a fuck.
Well, that's my favorite thing about them too. Is they're like we've said it many times in comedy. They don't draw a line in the sand. They make fun of everybody and everything. You know, they made fun of Muhammad and they got death threats and they had to have security follow them around for a year in their families.
Cut episodes and stuff like that.
Yeah, they put him in a giant panda suit and shit like that.
Yeah.
And they said it was Muhammad, and they're like, if you show his face, that we'll kill you, because that's kind of like their know part of their religion. Like you can't see Muhammad's face or something like that. So. Yeah. I thought that was great.
Oh yeah,
you know, shit like that.
I love the inside tongue-in-cheek kind of humor that they have. It's great.
I think like you're saying with their humor is they have all types of humor, dark humor, just regular humor. Like
nobody is safe. I used to say this all the time: is nobody is safe when it comes to South Park. Nobody. You know, Hollywood. Music stars, nobody is safe from.
I like how like celebrities would get A-list celebrities would get super pissed when they found him. Like Paris Hilton got really mad about the episode with Butters or whatever, and she's going around, she's drunk and retarded, and she tries to shove up. She says, "No one's a bigger whore than me," and tries to shove stuff up her vagina and stuff, whatever.
Britney Spears blows her head off.
Yeah, Britney Spears blows her head off. So I'm gonna go back to some cool trivia stuff about South Park, and then we go open up some other rants about some stuff, but. So, and I bet you didn't know this, because I didn't know this. This is something actually that was really cool I found out. So originally, Kenny was never supposed to be killed on the episodes. Right? Kyle was supposed to be killed.
Yeah, he was supposed to be killed off, actually.
Killed off,
Season 5 or something like that.
Yeah, it was season 5. They were supposed to kill him, and they killed Kenny.
Yeah.
And then people are like, why were we going to kill him off? And they said because Kyle and Stan were too relatable. Yeah. They're like the same person.
Yeah, I was going to say they were the same exact person.
Yeah, so you knew that.
Yeah.
But did you know who Kyle and Kyle and Stan represent?
Trey and Matt.
Yeah, Trey and Matt.
That's their family members are the same family members they have.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that too. They put a lot of their family members in there, and they relate them back to that, which makes it even more funny because that's how they get a lot of people. Like Mr. Mackey was a guidance counselor they grew up with. Yeah. They'd be like, Matt and Trey, you go do this, and they're like,
Shelly had the mouthpiece, and so did Matt's sister, or something like that, or Trey's.
That's great. I'm sure that's funny comedy shit they talk about around the dinner room table and stuff like that. It brings up at family shit, which is funny. And they're like, why the fuck are you making fun of it? Now it's like, just an inside joke or whatever they have together with them. But yeah, I thought that was cool. I didn't know that about Kyle and Stan for the longest time. I just thought it was always just like random people they put in. But that was something cool I found out.
Here's a question for you. How many times, as of this year, how many times has Kenny died in how many times has he died? Total, except for video games, just episodes.
Just episodes?
Yeah. And the movie.
In the
Sorry.
movie,
And the
I'd
movie.
say 700 times.
Nah, not that many.
Not many.
Way too high.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. They only had that many episodes.
Right.
Let me go back. So I'd say because they killed him off for a season, so he didn't die for an entire season. So 350,
Little less. Oh, not
Little
less.
less?
About half that.
325.
Oh, half that.
Oh, had that. Oh, sorry. I thought you said half of 350. So yeah, 100,
It's
150.
126 times.
120.
Yeah, not counting video games because he dies 100 times or something like that.
Well, there was a
Video
thing
games.
that said they killed him every episode, and they started to do a funny trend where they stopped killing him every episode.
Right.
So they went back and forth. So I was
Right.
trying to remember, and then they started killing him again in some
Exactly.
episodes. So that makes sense. But
Do you,
they're,
do you know what his very last words were when they actually did kill him?
I love you guys.
No.
What?
Where's Stan?
Where's Stan?
Where's Stan?
Wonder why? What? Is there relevance why he said where's Stan?
Stan wasn't there when he died. Stan was off doing whatever thing he was doing. Everybody else was there though.
Oh yeah, and then he comes in and he's crying or whatever in the hospital, whatever Cartman. Yeah, okay, I remember that. So yeah, that's funny.
Yep, that was gonna be one of my questions I had for you later.
And where's Stan? I do remember because that episode just came up not too long ago where I watched that.
Yep.
So the I don't bleh.
Blah, blah, blah.
I wonder if you didn't know this, but the Tolkien and Token thing, the whole debacle. So people don't know
Yes.
Tolkien's the only black kid in South Park or whatever.
Yes, the Token Black Show.
And Token Black is his name actually too. Later in the seasons, I think it was just a couple seasons ago, they changed his name to Tolkien over our
J.R.R. Tolkien.
yeah, J.R.R.
So
Tolkien.
they don't get in trouble.
So they don't get in trouble, exactly. So people don't know this, and I found this out. They went back and changed all the fucking subtitles and everything from every
wow.
episode to Tolkien's, and it doesn't say Token anymore. And,
Right.
and people are like, "Why'd you do that?" And probably for the same reason they get sued, but to make sure they stay relevant for their change and what they said, so that
Right.
to freak people out. But yeah. In the original episodes, are like, dude, your name's always been Token, not Tolkien. I love that
Yeah.
episode.
Everybody knows. Everybody's gonna keep saying Token anyway.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. It's just because it was
It's a joke.
the running joke for like the longest fucking time.
Mm-hmm. I like how they turn that in joke. Okay, this is cool. Did you know in 1999, way throwback, right? You remember Tiger Woods when he was the biggest fucking person in sports at one
Yeah.
time? They had Tiger Woods 99 that came out.
Yeah.
So-
The episode they snuck it.
Yeah. So one of the people, the developers on the show,
Oh, the developer of the game.
or the game, right?
Yeah,
I'm
they-
sorry, the
they-
show. I'm sorry, the game. Was a huge fan of South Park. So if you plug the CD, and it's a PlayStation game, if you plugged it into your computer, actually had the precursor pilot
Yep.
of Santa versus Jesus on there, and people are like, how did this get on there? So like the first 100,000 copies had it on there, and then after that they found out they removed it.
Yeah.
So like it's like a cool like in South Park like Grail thing that people are like, I got Tiger Woods 99 just because I had the pilot episode on here. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty amazing that somebody would actually get away with something like that.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Do you know who Kenny was inspired by?
Kenny it's gotta be the little kid Randy from Christmas Story.
Well, so that was how he got inspired with his voice.
Oh, okay.
But where did they inspire from? I thought this was cool. I found this out not too long ago.
Probably Matt.
No.
No.
All right, so I'll just tell you. So Trey Parker, when he grew up, had a poor friend named Kenny
Oh,
in the
okay.
street. Okay, and he went to their school, and he always wore an orange parka.
Right.
So that's where they kind of inspired him for Kenny. And he said the dude would always come to school, and he always looked dirty and poor, or whatever, like that. But at the same time, he would leave school for like weeks, and they'd be like, "Where the fuck is Kenny?" And and the running joke was, "I don't know, man. He died."
Yeah.
So that's
That
where
okay.
that's where they got. Oh my God, you killed Kenny or whatever.
Yeah.
That's how they inspired for where Kenny
Okay.
came from.
I like that.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's like something you just don't know.
Yeah.
How about Mr. Hanky, where he came from?
He was actually Trey's dad had told him that if he doesn't go poo poo when he's little, that Mr. Hanky was gonna come get him.
So that's true also, but you know why he did say that to him? Because he would take a shit and wouldn't flush the toilet.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
he'd always have like he would call him, and they called him Mr. Hanky or whatever, and then
Right.
they're like, if he doesn't, he's gonna come get you, and that stuck with them forever.
Yeah,
So
it still does.
yeah, it still does, obviously.
And all of us too.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So this is actually really cool. I didn't know this. This is something I found out last night when I was actually just watching something random on South Park. Was did you know what term they coined?
Oh shit. Yes.
You'll know it because you watch all the South
Begins
Park
with an
stuff.
S, right?
Nope.
No, hold on. What's it begin with?
D.
Derp.
Derp.
Derp. Yeah. Derp.
So they coined derp, and it actually became a real meaning in the dictionary.
Yep.
And derp means a person that is foolish or dumb, pretty much, right?
It's just like the Simpsons. Simpsons came up with dough.
Yeah,
That,
dough.
For the longest time, that wasn't in the dictionary.
So
Now
I
it
thought
is.
that was cool. I was going to say
That
that
is
too.
very cool.
Do you know when they first said derp?
Oh fuck yes, the Rob Schneider one because that's what the episode because that's when they
Not in South Park.
no
It was before that.
oh before that
Yeah.
oh
Where they coined it up. Actually, no. Let's see. Would it? No, it would be in South Park, but it was no. It wasn't coined until it was in a movie, and then you started using it in South Park.
okay
You'll know the movie. It's their most famous movie.
not Clerks
Well, no, Matt and Stone and Trey Parker.
oh was it in the movie their movie
Yeah.
was it Team America
No.
No.
Basketball.
oh
They use derp in basketball.
when did they use it in basketball
I don't remember. They said they say it in one part in the movie, and they said, and that's where they came up derp. Derp. They said or something like that. I can't remember what part it was. I was watching it last night,
I'm gonna
but
have to watch that now
they came up. I know they came out with an episode. If you don't remember this too, when a chef got away, and they had that Mr. Derp was his name in South Park, and he was the guy. He was the lunch guy. I thought that was cool.
yeah I thought it was from the Rob Schneider episode because they kept saying Rob Schneider in Derp Derp
Right.
yeah.
So that became where a lot of people use that up as that too. So here's another good trivia thing about it. So something about Cartman.
Oh.
I bet you didn't know this because I didn't know this for the longest time.
When they used derp, it was the part when they're in the upstairs bedroom, in the very beginning of the upstairs bedroom, licking the mom's dildo and playing with her underwear.
Uh-huh.
That's where they say derp.
Oh, okay.
That's I just looked it up.
That's funny. I didn't know this, and you probably didn't know this. A lot of people probably didn't know this. So Cartman's lines in episodes, every episode, majority of them, I'd say they said, are ad libbed. They're not scripted. They're just off the cuff. He just says shit and does whatever because that's how they come up with creative. But most people think Kenny's are the same way, but they're not.
They're scripted.
They're scripted.
Yep.
So I thought that was cool. So let's see. Just going from there. I know this is just random stuff I got in there. So I guess I could ask a question. Was from one of our topics was which is your favorite episode of South Park?
I guess the Osama bin Laden one's very very top one. Very top. I say top 5. Oh man, there's just been so many. You know, I love back in the day. I loved the beefcake one because I could relate. Shoot. What about yours? The cripple fight. Come on, Timmy and Jimmy.
Cripple fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I'll use their famous quote from like the first VHSs that every episode's their favorite episode.
Yeah.
The South Park.
Cheater.
Huh?
Cheater.
It's just funny because that's a relevant
Yeah.
South Park thing. But really, my favorite South Park episode of all time, I'd have to say it's always stuck with me, because I grew up as a gamer is Make Love Not Warcraft. Because
I knew you were gonna say that.
I knew it because I've watched it so many times, and it just around that time that came out. I was so big into Counter-Strike when I was playing semi-professional video games for Counter-Strike. World of Warcraft came out. And it was their vanilla WoW, the original WoW came out. Yeah. And all my friends switched over to play World of Warcraft and left Counter-Strike. And they would kind of play both, but they were so sucked into playing WoW.
Right.
Sucked people's life away. And I guess Matt and Stone saw the relevance, how funny it was or whatever, right? And I was like, man, this sucks. But when they came up with the episode, it was kind of, I thought they were kind of giving it a tribute, but making fun of it at the same time. But they weren't. They were actually just making a tribute to it because how many people were, how big it was at the time. It was the biggest video game of all time.
Yeah.
For online MMORPG that really started that whole fucking brand of game.
Did you know that they used the actual the Blizzard's server when they made that episode?
Yeah, so going into that, they actually had to get permission from Blizzard, and they went to Blizzard's place of their headquarters and filmed for 5 days with Blizzard, and that's how they get the episode.
Yep.
So did you know that Trey was so mad after doing the episode, he didn't want to air it. He thought it was going to suck and it was going to be worse. And they come to find out it was probably one of the most successful, if not the most successful episode they've ever made.
I think everything that I've read, they said that is the most successful, most people's favorite one, basically.
Right. So it just because it stuck home with so many people at the time, gaming was starting to
Oh,
get
yeah.
really big, right?
Yeah.
In our area of growing up in the early 2000s, was you watch the kids go from playing outside to being inside with video games, literally getting fatter as the time go
Yeah.
on to fucking
Bathroom.
Yeah.
Bathroom.
just grinding to play a video game and then just to beat the guy. And then they're like, what do we do? My favorite line at the end is like, what do we do now?
No,
After
no,
we beat
what-
him, they're like, what do you do? What do you mean, what do we do now? Carmen says, now we can play the game.
Right.
Because they had to beat that guy who was killing everybody the whole fucking
Yeah.
time. I thought that was just funny.
Yeah.
But to me, I didn't know this either. So I hope that you didn't watch it. Maybe you did watch the Instagram reel I sent you. Do you know the guy that plays in WoW, that plays the character that's sitting there eating, like flips the chips off or whatever, sitting in front
Yeah,
of the
he's a
computer?
real guy.
He's a real
Yep.
guy.
Yeah.
And he actually is a developer at Blizzard.
Blizzard, yep.
And
He put himself in there just cause.
no, he didn't put himself in there. Matt and Trey put him in there.
Oh, I thought he put himself in there.
No, they put him. They asked if they could put him in there, and they made him the guy on the fucking thing playing the guy that had no life. Pretty much,
Right.
is the gamer that sat at home playing WoW all day.
Right.
They're like, oh my god, because that's what part of the episode was so funny. They're like, we got a guy that has no life in the video game. Like, what do we do? Like, no one's gonna be able to beat this guy because he has no life. And they're
Right.
like, there's 4 kids from Colorado. Oh my god, they have no life either. That they're gonna try up against get against them. And that's when
Right.
they came up the sword of 1,000 truths or whatever to give it to him, whatever
Right.
with Randy. So I just love that episode. It just struck home with me because I'm a gamer and I just thought it was funny and. It was so creative the way they did that, you know, because how many people have done something like that? Nobody else have done anything
Right.
like that ever. I don't think in adult cartoon. So
Yeah.
that was probably my favorite episode, I would say. But dude, there's just so many good ones. I don't know if I really have it. That would probably, if I had to pick a favorite, that was my favorite episode.
Yeah. It'd be harder to pick an actual one or two episodes. But easier probably just to pick a season. But that's even then, that's even hard.
That was season 10. I know that's
Yeah.
season 10 because I've
Yeah.
watched it and I've let my son watch it a couple times and I get in trouble from my wife. Because that's the season that came out with the Nintendo Wii where Cartman freezes himself and,
Yeah.
and they want to put himself in the freezer and outside, whatever, so he could have to wait 2 weeks for the Nintendo Wii to come out and he freezes himself for 500 years and they don't have it no more.
God.
That episode's great.
Yeah.
But going into the seasons, I don't know if I have a favorite season either. I just love the show so much as a whole that I can nitpick so many episodes that I like.
Yeah.
But I love. I mean, I hate to say I'll use their joke. I pretty much like every episode. There's not an episode I hate. But if I had to pick my favorite series, it'd have to be The Coon.
Coon and Friends.
Coon and Friends was really good. I like that one. I like the one where they do the Black Friday one. Is that the Coon and Friends one?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they do the Black Friday one where they go in the store. I like that series. I also like Imagination Land.
I like the Imagination Land. I wasn't really big on it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was just looking at my notes here. The actual most popular episode of all time was the Christmas one with the evil animals.
Oh, the Evil Animal one?
Yeah.
That one's good too.
Yeah, they said that's the most popular one that people like.
Is it because it's just Christmas
Yeah.
themed or whatever?
Yeah.
So I know we talked about that before, how they used to theme all their episodes or like around. They do like a Halloween one,
Yeah.
they would do a Christmas one, Thanksgiving ones or whatever. With Mr. What's it called? Starvin Marvin came in. They're
Yeah.
getting him all those turkeys and shit.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That has like left their.
They moved on.
They moved on.
basically, Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, just like when people are saying that every episode has an alien hidden somewhere in it. Not every episode does.
No.
A lot of them do, but not everyone.
So I'll always remember this as a kid, and if you're a South Park fan, you'll remember this. So they had a contest going, and I thought I won. I never got to win because I'm sure there's millions of people that watch and enter this
Right.
shit, right? They had a season where every episode you had to find every alien episode. So I would get in front of the TV, I watch it, record it, and fucking find every alien every episode, and you had to mail it in.
Yeah.
I mail all that stuff in. I think they sent me something, but I didn't win the big prize or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that was so cool to me. It's like figure out where every alien is. I can't remember what season it was,
But I can't remember.
but it was such a big thing. And to be honest with you, dude, I used to live on like Comedy Central's website for South Park and play like the South Park pinball game that was on there all the time, and just like all their like little what do they call them at the time? Like not 3D games, but I guess internet games you can call them.
Yeah.
That was something cool I always remember as a kid, like that little giveaway. My sister was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, and she would sit there and like help me find the aliens or whatever per
Right.
episode. That was cool. I wish I still had like a recording of like when they were doing that for Comedy Central, like with the alien. It's probably on YouTube. I probably can find it.
I do like a lot of their jokes that they bring back in. They running joke, basically the running jokes. Like that Barbara Streisand's a cuss word, and it's also a creature and one of the things. Just generally making fun of her, or like Chewbacca defense. People say that, or the just being Chewbacca in Halloween always wins the costume contest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just little running jokes that they keep going with that for years.
I like how they did the Chewbacca defense with. People don't know this. They had Johnny Cochran come in, and like they did with the glove fits. You must have quit or whatever if it doesn't fit. They used the Chewbacca thing for the same thing to like distract the jury from actually what's going on during the episode. And I was like, dude, this is fucking awesome. Like if you didn't understand it, then that's what it was.
Yeah.
But that stuck with people for a long time. That episode, or whatever. I thought that was funny too.
Oh,
That was a great joke.
And it's also, just even the things that, that people put in their everyday conversation, I still say, whenever somebody does something I don't like, I'm like, you suck, Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the one-liners from the show, basically.
Yeah, they have a lot of good sayings and one-liners. I mean, obviously between me and you, we have a lot we would say.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Me and my sister still have a lot. Like I know I've said this probably on our podcast, but like still inside jokes. Like we used to go to Grandma Grady's, and like during Thanksgiving or anything, me and my sister used to say funny shit and be like, "What are you guys talking?" My mom would always say, "What are you talking about, like Cartman people?"
Right.
My mom's still in her 60s, doesn't understand as much as we watch South Park. Everything she says she'll call it Cartman people. I'm like, Mom, they're not Cartman people. It's from South Park. But she wouldn't get it. But we would always laugh because it would always be funny.
Right,
so
right.
She still says that till this day.
Yeah. I still every once in a while I still say, my mom said there's a lot of black people in Africa.
Cartman says that in one
Sarah Marvin one.
Sarah Marvin,
Yeah.
that's right. So South Park just has so many good things, man. Like going like we were saying earlier with the episodes, like for the first 10 or 15 years, they did the random episodes. I liked when they went to the theme thing, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. And now they've went to where it's more like everything's current topics, and now they're doing. I guess kind of the same thing, they're saying with current topics and political stuff that comes up, and they're making fun of like all this mainstream shit that they hate, which is great, which I think they've always done. The only thing I'm not really keen on South Park nowadays with that pisses me off, I guess because they've become so popular, is that they're doing less episodes per season.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's just something I just don't like. They went from making every episode, like one season they did like 15, and then went to 12, and then went to 10. Now they're doing 8. And the last year they did 6. And it's like, come on, man.
One year they did one.
One year they did one.
The COVID one or whatever.
The COVID one, But now I think with the Paramount deal, they have to make so many movies. And what they mean by a movie is they make like an episode that's like 2 hours long, and they put it together and make a little short film movie of South Park, or so many episodes. And I think it's between 6 and 8 they have to do a season with the movies. So that's cool. I guess they're so big nowadays, or maybe they just don't have the free time, because people are like, what do they work on all year? Because I know the guy, Andy Arrett, that works at South Park. He's been a creative, designer for them for over 20 years. I email with him once in a while and talk to him about stuff. And the video game that they're working on right now has been huge. The movies they work on, obviously the TV shows they'll work on during, like, it seems like be at the end of the year now, where it used to be throughout the year. It used to come out in summer or like early spring. Now it's always at the end of the year. The mobile games, the merch. There's just so much shit that goes into it. And now they're done with the musical. Which I got to go see, which was awesome with my sister at the Fox. What was it called? The Mormon, Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon. Yeah.
Fucking was hilarious, dude. They threw South Park shit into it. It made it funny, but also it had Matt and Trey's humor. Mm-hmm. Dude, it's been sold out. Like, I think in New York for like 5 years, it was sold out straight.
Oh, yeah.
It won like 16 Tony Awards that most people don't know. Like, they won a lot of shit for doing their musicals, which is why people like South Park bigger, longer, and uncut their movie. They've been asking them to do another movie, and they're actually talking about maybe doing another South Park movie, which I think would be great.
Oh, yeah.
They've done so much they went from a small, dark adult cartoon to this huge, mainstream
entity.
Yeah, entity. They put their stain and their foot down and their stamp down on stuff. It's just cool to me, man. It's still this age, something about South Park. I know it's for adults, but like I like sharing it with my son. I don't care what anybody says. Like, fuck you. Sure, I don't want to watch every episode by any means. I want to watch ones that are less, let's say, racy and just they're more made for adults. But there is episodes that they don't cuss a lot and do stuff. And it's kind of catered towards adults and kids. So those are the ones I let them watch.
And even with how smart Link is, you don't have to, if he doesn't catch on to some of the really bad ones, or the adult, some of the humor, and he doesn't ask you about it. So which is good.
No, that's why I show him the video game ones, like the World of Warcraft one. He likes it. He's like, "Oh, mom, bathroom." Like he said that to Laura a couple times, or whatever. And I thought it was funny, or whatever, when he has to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, I get that. She's like, "Why is he saying that?" I'm like,
Hot Pocket.
Hot Pocket, yeah. And he's like, "I want to watch the video game one." That's what I asked me, and we'll watch that one together and laugh together.
Yeah.
So that's something I share and bond with them. Like I didn't know South Park would bring a bond or something with my son that I could share with him. I don't care if people are like, your kid's only 5, you shouldn't watch that. It's like, you know what? At 5 years old, I watched Beavis and Butthead.
Right.
You know,
it's the same fucking thing.
And I turned out fine, right?
Well,
for the most part.
yeah, I can't say that.
I think there's just so many people that are, I mean, I get why they do it because their kids are only young once and they're sponge and they'll absorb stuff. And I don't want them cussing at school and being one of potty mouth by any means. I just mean, like, I can share this with him and still be supervised parent over him. I don't have to be a helicopter parent. Like, what are you watching all times? Like, they're going to see and hear this stuff regardless. It might as well be under my supervision.
Yeah, I was going to say, better be under your supervision than them going behind your back. And like when we were growing up, parents did not want us to watch pornos or anything like that. Now, then we snuck in and found them, watch them. Now, if you watch it with them, at least you can explain something to them and say, hey, this is not real.
I don't think I'd ever watch a porn with my son or anything like that by any means.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing. Where
I think you mean, like, if you're watching a movie and there's a sex scene, you can explain it to him.
Yeah, that, or even just like I said, just you watch it with him so you can explain to him.
Right.
This is just a cartoon. It's not really happening.
Correct.
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
Stuff. You don't go around and say you killed your friend or Kenny, stuff like that.
He knows it's fake. Just like when we play Call of Duty or anything else, he knows zombies aren't real and they're not fake. Not yet. He was like, "Is this real?" And it's like, no, nobody goes around killing people or doing this stuff. It's like, this is a video game. It's make believe. But it's like, it's fun and entertainment to him, right? And obviously, he's under my supervision while we play it. It's not like I'm letting him play by himself for 6 hours a day, mutilating zombies or doing anything. But I think so many people are just closed-minded to the idea of, like, cartoons, these kind of cartoons are only for adults, and to their point, to be fair, it is, right? That's what it's catered toward, but also to grow their audience, they do cater some stuff towards children. It does look inviting towards children. Like, look at your South Park shirt you have on now. If I watched it and saw this kid, I'm like, wow, that looks cool.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. He's like, I want to watch South Park. My mom, dad, don't want me watching her, pretty much mom. But, when Laura's not here all the time, sometimes I do sneak it in and watch it, or I'll let her watch it, and she'll be like, which episode you're watching? I'll show it, and she'll be like, okay, this wasn't that bad, right?
Right.
But, we do say, like, don't be telling your friends and telling school, like, hey, you watch this. This is supposed to be something cool. You watch it once in a blue moon.
Right, exactly.
It's not all the time. Most of the time he's watching, Morphle, which is a popular cartoon for kids on YouTube. Gotcha. It's a guy that can morph into anything. Like Spider-Man, and stuff like that. Like, that's the kind of stuff he watches. But like in his room, like, you may give me those South Park ornaments.
Yeah,
I hung on my tree, likes them. I put them in his room and hung up in his room. Like, and they sit around his bed now. He likes, he has some South Park stuff in his room. Yeah, obviously in my room I have a bunch of shit and he loves it, but he's not playing with that.
Doesn't count.
So any more random South Park topics or any cool trivia stuff?
I got some trivia stuff, but I'm going to ask you the trivia stuff at the end.
Okay. So something. This is just kind of random, but I guess it can be part of the South Park stuff that I was talking about earlier with the VHS tapes. Was this is kind of South Park, but it's not. It kind of goes hand in hand. I was listening to somebody talk about it on the way over here, and I just wrote it down. I think we talked about it. Maybe we've probably talked about it a couple times on the podcast, but this is kind of off topic. But physical media going away. We're just trying to talk about this earlier. Was the reason I don't want it to go away is for the same reason I don't want anything else to go away, is because stuff like South Park, where are you going to find it again unless you pay for it and you don't own it?
Right.
I'm glad I have my VHS tapes, but I don't have every season. I only have the first, 4 or 5 seasons that when they came out, when there wasn't a DVD, and then DVDs came out. I never collected the DVDs. Now this is going on, I'm probably going to buy all the DVD sets. I've made a conscious decision. I'm going to buy 1 through 25 or 26 and start buying all the DVDs and collecting them just so I have them. It kind of just pisses me off, the fact that so many people are for getting rid of it, like these young idiot kids that have no idea what the fuck they're going to lose when this kind of stuff goes around. Like, the way I look at it now, and this is kind of why I wanted to bring it up, was if physical media goes away, just like, okay, so when Nintendo came out, or 64, and you can see where I'm going with this, the games got stopped producing. So now, 20 years later, now that we have all this nostalgia and people want to buy the old retro consoles that we grew up with or played with, What are they doing? All those games have tripled in price. Like to get a regular Zelda game, it's probably $50 or $60, which costs the same price as a new video game because you want the old one because they don't manufacture anymore.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen to fucking movies? Right. That's why I look at our TV shows that we grew up with. Like
That's what the movie studios want. They want the prices to be hiked up so they get the money.
well, no, not if they stop selling these stuff, Walmart and these places or these thrift stores or these hand-me-down stores or just like people that trade in and buy stuff, whatever type of stores, which I like going to, like video games and movie stores, like a V-Stock or whatever. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to find a copy of, I know a really good movie. Let's just say A Few Good Men or something like that. They come out, you can't find it on TV anymore, or whatever.
Yeah.
That copy of that used to be $5 for DVD is going to be $50,
Right.
Because they don't mass produce them, they don't make them anymore, and nobody sells them anymore. Best Buy stopped selling them. So what happens now? Any of those movies you want? Oh, but you can get on a streaming service. Well, guess what? They didn't pay the rights to so and so. Now it doesn't. You don't own this copy anymore.
Right.
Same thing's going to happen with video games. That's why I'm mad because when I grew up. We didn't have HBO and every single channel to watch every series or whatever. So what did you do when you're a kid? You bought the series and watched them at home. Like I have season 1 through 5 of The Sopranos or something like that. I used to have on DVD.
Right.
Why'd you have it? Because I wanted to own it and I wanted to watch it. That was just my point. It was
Right.
more of a South Park thing. So I brought it into South Park because I'm going to buy all the physical copies of it. Sounds stupid probably to a lot of people that don't understand it. But to me, so many times we've talked about it. It's like, this is why I want to own physical stuff now.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
And if you think about if your internet goes down, then what? Then what do you got to do? You got the physical copy. You can put it in the DVD player.
Yeah.
You know,
Or that's why PlayStation, a lot of these things still carry, Blu-ray and everything else player. If you look at a Blu-ray compared to like a 4K streaming service, the Blu-ray still beats it all day long when you watch it on a nice TV. I mean, a lot of people probably don't give a fuck about that kind of stuff, but to me, I still care about that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
It's starting to become more reality because I was like, DVDs will always be around. You're kind of naive. It's like DVDs, Blu-rays, video games, all that stuff will always be around. It won't be.
Oh,
Eventually, it won't be. It'll be gone, right?
Right.
So that was one of my random things I put in here. I do have a topic that I put in here for South Park, and then I guess we can go into our questions down the road here. Did South Park change your life? And if it did it change it more for a positive or more for a negative? And like, I know this is kind of, you have to sit there and think about it for a second, but what did it change? From I guess perspective when you started doing it, like for positives, I guess, or negatives?
I think it changed me positively. For me personally, I know a lot of people will disagree with that. It changed my attitude. It's just because I know that growing up with the way my family was growing up, brought me up and stuff like that, things were so different. Things were very strict, very Catholic-y, whatever, and it wasn't for me. It was watching South Park was like a way of rebellion. Because that means they say shit on that one episode like 100-something odd times. The little kids, basically South Park is so relatable that every time when you grow up, you had the fat kid, you had the two guys that were best friends, and then you had the poor kid. You always had that. You had the token black kid. You had the kid in the wheelchair. You had South Park is so relatable to people's lives, especially mine. It's just it's like looking in a mirror, and with a lot of their jokes, that I use that into the jokes that I have now because my humor changed dramatically when I started watching them. I was joking like I was like as somewhat, but once I got their jokes and got their skits that they did and what have you, I just loved it. And then, like I said, for me, I think it was very positive because it's the way I am right now. In South Park, if I didn't watch South Park, I probably wouldn't be as I am right now. I can't say I'm the funniest motherfucker in the world, but I still can make people laugh. I can and I can incorporate South Park humor into that. Negatively, yeah, I see people are going to say that because they have so many views on certain races or certain kind of certain people that I agree with that, saying like I don't like these kind of people or these people are that being like that or whatever, and people are going to see that as a negative towards me, which again with the South Park attitude, fuck you, I don't care. I'll do what I want.
That's just kind of so I agree with everything you said. To me, South Park changed my life forever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I could tell. I could definitely tell that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a, I think my mom and dad, I grew up in a good family environment. I mean, it wasn't perfect by any means, but I think my mom and dad were very lenient with what I watch. And even if I didn't want to watch it, I would sneak and watch it anyway.
Right.
But they knew it made me happy. And that was a little win for them. And it was something stupid and small like that. They didn't give a shit, because obviously my mom and dad supervised me when I still watched mostly my mom.
Right.
But the same thing, like you can watch this, but don't go out and talk like that kind of potty mouth shit out in public, which I did anyway.
Right.
Because I was a boy and,
Right. That's
and,
what we did.
and rebellious. But to me, it changed my life for a lot of things, and especially growing up when I was a young age. The positive I get out of it is I always laughed and I always thought things were funny. I became more of a jokester and became funny because of it. Sure, do I laugh at my own jokes and think I'm funny? Who doesn't?
Right.
That if you don't, then I don't know. You got to look at sometimes life as
You're not living.
you're not living. You got to be more funny and just enjoy life, and sometimes not take it so serious, right?
Right.
So that always put that perspective into my eyes. I opened my eyes to a lot of things I didn't know in the world, right? I learned a lot of stuff through South Park, even though if it was very raunchy, whatever. There's things they did, like at the end of the show, like I learned something today with Kyle. I don't know if you guys ever watched South Park in the early episodes, but they would do the episode at the end. Stan and Cartman, Kyle and Kenny would talk together, and Kyle would always say, I learned something today, and he would talk about what he learned through the episode. I thought that was like always a teaching moment when I was a kid. Now, when you watch it and you get older, some of it was, and some of it was just making a fucking joke of something and making
Right.
it funny. But at the same time, they kind of did that into a way where I always took that as like, hey, I learned something through this episode because
Right.
I was a dumb young little kid.
Yeah. You're a sponge too. You picked up on that kind of stuff.
But also in the way to change it positive is, dude, I met so many people through school. Now I know this is a young and immature thing to do, but it's like when you're a kid, I associate friends or anybody with like, oh, you like video games? I like video games. Like you're cool, like whatever. Or like
Yeah.
you like South Park? I like South Park. I made a lot of friends through people just knowing they watch South Park. Now not every kid in our school could watch it, but the kids that did and understood it, we bonded and became friends over it. So I made a lot of good friendships when I was young over South Park. And to be honest with you, through South Park, I've made so many friends. Like just growing up in our neighborhood, like, being at my house with all the kids that came over, every single one of my friends that came over, if we got high or whatever, I would always watch South Park with them, and they all got integrated into South Park. And I didn't do it on purpose. It was just organic. I'd be on TV, I'd put it on, we'd watch it, we'd laugh. They're like, man, I love this. Like now I see why you're so obsessed with South Park. A lot of my friends never got to watch South Park growing up. So like we bonded over that, and like I made a lot of good friendships. So like that was a cool thing growing up, and it's something that's relatable till now. Like I just rekindled my friendship with my buddy Todd. You remember Todd Tarrant?
Oh God. You said that name.
I know. So like Todd, I just talked to him not too long ago, and he's in Colorado, and he's like, "Hey man, do you still watch South Park?" I didn't even fucking ask him. He's like, and now he sends me South Park reels all the time on Instagram, and we laugh. He's like, "Man, I remember watching this in your base or whatever." Like that was cool to me. Like something that small stuck with him, not just through our friendship when we were young, but till now to adulthood when he's a dad.
Right.
He's still talking about that kind of stuff. Like, man, I remember watching this with you. We always used to have a good time and laugh and watch, like even playing the games or whatever, or going to see the movie in theaters. Like stuff like that was just cool for me.
Right.
And to this day, I think it's been positive. Everything South Park I've got has been positive to me. It's always brought me happiness, nostalgia. If you guys have ever seen my game room, the people that personally know me, my entire room is filled up with South Park and stuff in there because it brings me happiness. It brings me back to a better time when I get to enjoy it. Until this day, people that were so like closed-minded to it, like my wife when I first met her, she's like, "What's South Park? Oh, this is stupid, whatever." She watches it now. She loves it. There'll be times I'll be in the other room and I'll hear her turn South Park on in the room and she'll be watching it, laughing, and I'm like, "What are you watching?" She's like, "South Park." I'm like, "I'll fucking come in here and watch this with you." That's how much like she was closed-minded about it. There's a lot of people that are probably really closed-minded about it. I thought that was a small win for me, like because now we have something we can relate to. And she's like, because when we started our dating, she's like, "You watch South Park?" I was like, "Fucking love South Park."
Right.
And even my sister would come in and be like, "Oh, I love South Park." She'd sit down and whatever, come down. She'd be like, "You like this too?" She'd be like, "Yeah, this is great." She just didn't know. She didn't grow up with it. She it's either she didn't ever experience it, or she was just closed-minded and thought this was a kid cartoon.
Right.
Which kind of will bleed into another topic I'm going to bring up here in a minute, but it's kind of one of my questions at the end I wanted to bring up. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, I was going to say. Can't go through our podcast without saying that.
No, you can't. Wait, it's like Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith.
That's another one.
Yeah, so to me, it was a positive. And to this day, it's still a positive. It's a net positive. Like I said, I bonded with my son over it. Sure, he likes whatever dad likes, but just because I play a cartoon didn't mean he was going to like it automatically.
Exactly.
Is there anything else positive or negative you can think that come out of it? South Park and just general.
No, I just like I said, it is a great something to bond over.
Yeah,
because everybody can relate to it somehow.
I mean, me and you, when you first came into our family with your dad and Mamie and everybody in our family or whatever, we bonded over South Park right away. We talked. We both knew South Park, and we were cracking jokes within the first week of us hanging out at grandma's. And they're like, what are you guys talking about? And Ashley or whatever. But that's something we'll always have a bond over. I'll never forget those days at grandma's doing that. We used to watch South Park sometimes over at grandma's. So, that was always cool to me.
Definitely.
Yeah, but positively, like to me, it's still being positive till this day. I mean, if you look at South Park, what they've done for the comedy as a whole. I mean, if you listen to like Joe Rogan, right, who obviously I love to death or whatever. He's my favorite guy to listen to on podcasts because of the guests and people he gets on. They are ranting and raving in the comments all the time. You need to get Matt Stone and Trey Parker on your podcast. I think he's trying. I don't know if they want to go. They've been on other podcasts and their shows. But I think that's one guest like on his like bucket list he wants on the show because he said I don't know how many times in different podcasts I listen that they're the best creative comedy geniuses of our time when it comes to like their art form of what they do. Right, not saying the best comedian, the best at what they do is cartoon, and he watches this till this day. He praises them, and all the comedians that come on there, they all praise South Park. They all say how smart and geniuses they are and what they do. And they're like, man. They are so good at what they do. This is why people continue to watch them. Pretty much is what they say. So like that's positive. I see they're still influencing comedians.
Yeah.
What they did with Castle Bonita. People don't know what Castle Bonita is. That huge restaurant that's in Colorado that got shut down. There was like a life-long Mexican restaurant. They went to his kids. They reopened it. They put millions of dollars into it.
$4 million, I think.
Yeah, saved jobs, and the place is booked up now for 2 years of reservations. You can't. Actually, I was talking to Todd about. I was like, "Did you get a reservation at Castle Bonita?" He's like, "Me and my wife went down there. It's 2 years booked in advance. You can't even get it fucking in there unless you're like a celebrity to get in there." The coolest thing to me about the Castle Bonita thing, this is like a little side note for South Park fans, is too. There's an episode where Cartman wants to go to Castle Bonita for his birthday, for Kyle's birthday. He doesn't get invited, so he puts Butters in a fallout shelter and tells them that the world's ending and Cartman's the only person and him the only people that survived. So he's in this trash yard or whatever where they dump yard waste and shit in, and Cartman gets to go to Castle Bonita, and they find out that Butters finds out that the world hasn't ended, and they call him his mom and say, "Hey, Cartman did this." So he runs through Castle Bonita for his birthday and gets to enjoy everything because he's like it's the coolest restaurant ever. There's a table he sits down and eats at. They call that the Cartman table, Castle Bonita. Now at the table, the head of the table, it's a giant fucking Cartman statue that sits there while they all sit there and overlook the divers and they're diving in the water. The funny thing is, the food there was supposed to be like really horrendous, and it was supposed to be like an inside joke with Matt and Trey growing up. Like everybody hated the food and got them sick there, and like now they have great food.
Oh yeah.
So that was cool. That's something positive they've done. I mean, they've done a lot of good positive things more than negatives in my mind. Probably because I'm biased. I'm just going to say it. I'm very biased towards it. I'm very married to my ideas with South Park.
One-sided, yeah.
But, I mean, I'm still open-minded. I mean, if they do something, but, dude, I'd say 99 times out of 100, I agree with their takes on a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not everything, but I would say
a
majority.
good majority, yeah.
Yeah, a good majority of things. So I could probably think of some other positive things they've done, but, like, just the games and everything else they put out, there's just – I can't go a day or a week without hearing something about South Park still.
Right.
25 years into what they've done.
Right.
That's just me. So anything else you want to add into that?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
What else you got?
No. So here's one of my random questions I wanted to put in. It's not a South Park question, but it kind of relates to South Park again.
Okay.
And we can probably talk about this for probably like 5 or 10 minutes. So are cartoons only for kids, or are they also for adults? And I guess it goes into it. We kind of talked about it a little bit about it, but I wanted to go deep dive because there's so many people I know that are closed-minded. They think when you become an adult, there's a certain age you just stop watching cartoons, right? And and if you don't, you're a man-child, I guess would say that.
Right.
To me, there is no cutoff with watching cartoons. I mean, if you can still watch cartoons from I still watch Looney Tunes when they're on TV once in a while because I grew up watching Looney Tunes and shit on TV. To me, cartoons are for everybody. That's why they make them. They're supposed to be something to get away and laugh about. I mean, the original Looney Tunes were made for like people in war to laugh and have something to look forward to because they're getting killed and doing shit over there. South Park was made for adults, but it's for everybody. And the same thing for cartoons. I don't think there's a threshold in age you just stop watching cartoons. Now, sure, I'm not going to watch kid ones that are catered towards kids that are really dumbed down for children. But I don't have a problem if people enjoy watching them. I don't think it's weird that people watch them. I just think it's something they enjoy. It's like people like watching anime and all that bullshit that's popular. It's not for me, but I love Dragon Ball Z, and I'll always watch it. It was like the first big, huge anime in America, but now there's thousands of animes out there that people love, and adults of all ages fucking watch it. So I'll let you answer it, and then I'll kind of get into it.
For me, I think, yeah, like you said, cartoons are for everyone. You know, they were made originally. They were made for adults, and just kids just started liking them, and now everybody likes them. There's always a cartoon for somebody. You know, I have not met one person alive that has not watched or loved a certain cartoon. You know, granted, a lot of them are like, you know, like you said, Looney Tunes or Beavis and Butthead or you know, South Park, stuff like that. But there's just so much you can relate to with cartoons, like you said. Also with Bugs Bunny, when you know they're made for guys who are in war, so they can, you know, lighten up the mood a little bit or stuff like that, or even to make a parody of what's going on with war and stuff like that. You know, they are for everybody. There's always there's going to be a positive side about it. Yeah, there's negative stuff because sometimes people put their religious views in there or some kind of something else, whatever. But you can look past that. If you're a smart person or if you're a person who knows what they're doing, you don't have to watch that episode. If they're talking about how the persecution of Jews or something like that, you don't have to watch that episode. Watch another one. There's plenty more of other cartoons, or there's even that one that you can watch that you can relate to. And people don't realize, you know, don't think about that kind of stuff. They just think, oh, they're making fun of the black kid again. Like, no, they're not. They're not making that. That's how, you know, kids in fourth grade did. That's what we all did, and they're still doing. You know, maybe nowadays it's more the other way around. Black kids are making fun of white kids like that. You know, it's just there's something for everybody in all kinds of cartoons. There's like you said, also there's this nostalgia in a lot of them. Some of them, you know, do flashbacks to how stuff was in the 80s or what have you, and then we know what they're talking about, or even play 80s music, or, you know, something like that. Or if you like Dungeons and Dragons, there's, you know, Dave the Barbarian kind of cartoons. There's just something for everybody, and there's something, period. You know, even if it's like, you know, like you said, anime or Godzilla cartoons or something like that, you know. Okay, well, you like the movies, okay, watch the cartoon. There's so much that people, the cartoons do for people, basically. You know, like I said, a lot of them are makes you laugh. A lot of them, some will wake you up a little bit and say, "Oh yeah, that's good." Kind of realize something is going on here or something, whatever. But I think they're for everybody, honestly.
I do too. I think that's why a lot of people, like my friend, there's a girl that's on here that didn't grow up with South Park, or maybe watched it, or maybe she just doesn't enjoy it.
Mentioning her again?
Huh?
Mentioning her again?
Yeah, I just think she's closed-minded. I'm just gonna call her out on the podcast.
Oh,
Call
her out.
Because I think South Park as a whole is for everybody, and I think if you watch enough, you'll find an episode that you enjoy watching.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously,
there are some bad ones, yes.
there's bad and good,
but still,
there's bad and good with every show, right?
Exactly. You can't have bad without the good.
But you know what? I get it, and I'm just being a dick at this end of the day. But it's because I have a deep love for it. I just think that if you give something a chance sometimes and watch more than one episode, you might actually enjoy something. Because I'll be honest, I didn't like Harry Potter when it fucking first came out, and a lot of people still don't, whatever. But after I watched the first movie and then I read a little bit of the book or whatever, because I thought it was just for like little kids, I fucking fell in love with it. Now it's my favorite fucking thing in the world. I love Harry Potter. You know, I know you're not into it, but you know what? It's me. I like I like fantasy, so I can get down with some fantasy or whatever. You know, the more fantasy lore, the more I'm a whore with it. You know, that's just the way it goes.
Maybe we're poet didn't know it.
I'm a lore whore. So
coin that.
Lore whore.
Yeah, lore whore.
Lore whore Volume 5.
Yeah.
So to me, I will always think it's for all ages because they are catered for adults. Most cartoons always started for adults, like you said, like earlier, like Scooby Doo was an adult cartoon. If
Obviously.
you go back, most people don't know that though, dude.
Right.
Like because they didn't grow up in the 70s or 80s when it first came out. Was it in the 80s or whatever it came out?
70s.
70s. So when it first came out, if you watched when they used to come out of the mystery van, fucking smoke would pour out, and that was weed. That
And
wasn't.
They didn't know that when you were growing up, you know, because we didn't know about drugs yet.
No, we were little kids, and you're just like, "This is cool, whatever." And then they realized the ratings were through the roof, and because kids watched it, and not adults, so they changed their whole tune on what they were doing. So The earlier episodes, they had that. Where do you think Scooby Snack's coming from? Not because he was.
I
a
think they're
dog,
always hungry.
because they're high.
Yeah.
That's just what it was.
Munchies.
So just stupid stuff like that people just do not realize with cartoons or in general. But yeah, I mean, Flintstones for that time, the Jetsons. You look about that. Was that for adults or was that for kids? Well, it started out for adults and became more for kids. So they did the same thing happen with them. So I think they realized if kids are into it, adults will be into it as well. So it's like that's why it needs to be for everybody. But like going back, like if you just want adult cartoons, that's what Adult Swim was made for people that are really still in adult cartoons. And my buddy Sam that passed away, he, after I always watched South Park, he's one that introduced me to Rick and Morty and a bunch of shows I never watched when I was a kid. I was like, dude, these are so good. They're so funny. Now they still have things that come out, but I don't really watch Adult Swim that much anymore because, well, I don't have fucking Comedy Central or Cartoon Network to watch stuff anymore because I'm not paying for it for one, and two, I just don't, I never gonna make time to watch cartoons as much as I do, but I still do see them. I do venture out and watch other cartoons. Not like I don't, but yeah, to me that was a loaded question because I think that's why I tied into it so much because there's a lot of people that still like, oh, South Park, that's for kids or that's for young adult man-child or whatever. And it's like, have you ever watched fucking South Park? And if they actually do, a lot of people are coming to find out they're like, oh, this is funny. They just never watched it before. That's why I brought up the topic because I hate the people that are just they've never given it a chance. I hate people that are just, they hate something because it's new or because it's trending or whatever it is. And it's like, have you even given it a chance or looked into it? No. I just hate it because it's popular. There's a lot of people that are just like that too.
Right, of course.
And that's why I look at it for South Park. I mean, there's so many people I've asked, like even at work, I've asked them like, oh no, I don't watch it. Like that's for idiots or immature people. Right. And it's like,
thanks.
Cool. Like, I don't take offense to it. A little bit I do, but at the same time, I'm like, that just tells me more all I need to know about you.
Right.
You're kind of person like that. So.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess that's the end of my random topic. Now it's your turn. You tell me some stuff.
I have some questions to see if you know the answers to this because I know you are the big South Park fan.
Okay, go.
I've already asked them throughout this whole podcast, so you don't have to worry about those. But these are going to be some harder ones.
Okay, I like them. I might learn something today.
Okay.
That's Kyle would say.
Now, I'm not sure if Barbra Streisand is included in this or not, but how many swear words were in the movie? The bigger, longer, uncut one.
Like just one time set or just throughout the whole movie?
Throughout the entire movie. Like I said, I'm not sure if Barbra Streisand counts or not.
100?
Keep going.
200?
Keep going.
500?
Less.
300?
More, but
I didn't know this. This random trivia fact.
399 times.
399 times?
Yeah, that's how many cuss words are in it.
I know there's an episode where they say fuck and they have a certain amount of times and like it brings up something from hell if you say the word fuck so many times. I think it was said like 999 times or something ridiculous like that throughout this episode. I'm just making up a number, but I remember something like that. That it was like a funny trivia question.
Yep. Okay. Kenny's okay. When was Kenny's death explained? Why he always died, and what episode I should say? What episode was revealed when why he died so much, and why? Why does he keep? How does he keep coming back?
I remember seeing this episode. I don't know what season it is. Is it season 5?
No.
Okay, so I know that's when they officially killed Kenny was season 5, and he comes back like season 7.
It's one of your favorite episodes. I'll give you that hint.
I don't know, just tell me. I can't think.
Coon and Friends.
Coon and Friends?
That's in the episode.
Oh, because he's Mysterion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but how does he come back? Like what had to happen or done to make him come back?
I don't remember.
His parents used to go to a cult for free beer. That's why he keeps coming back because his parents went to a cult.
Did they say that in the episode?
Yeah.
Okay, I just don't remember that.
All right, I got 2 more. These two are going to be very hard. I think they're going to be very hard. The first one, I was like, oh yeah. In the episode 201, it's revealed Cartman's actual father is who?
His mom.
No. Later episode.
Oh, later episode. In the original one, it was his mom.
Yeah, originally it was his mom, but it was finally revealed that his dad is somebody else.
Okay, hold on.
I will give you a little hint if you want, or you want to guess a few times.
Was it Chef?
Close?
Officer Barbrady?
No. No, not you said chef. No, not close. I said a name. The hint I'll give you, his name is Jack.
I remember hearing this in the episode. Just tell me. I remember it. I can't remember.
Jack Tenorman.
Jack Tenorman. Oh, yeah. Scott Tenorman's father.
Exactly.
Okay. That's funny.
Exactly. All right. Now, this one might be hard because you don't really speak the language.
Mm-hmm.
What does the word Chipokemon mean?
Oh, fuck. I just watched something on that because I remember watching.
You know what Mon means, obviously.
Yeah. But I remember the Montequilla episode with Butters when he's a Mexican and they praise Montequilla. Montequilla in fucking Mexican or Spanish means Butters.
Right.
I found that out not too long ago. I thought that was funny. So Pokemon means.
Well, you know what Mon means. Pokemon means what? That might kind of help you a little bit.
Pokemon means.
Think of Pokemon. What does Pokemon mean?
I don't know. Just tell me.
Pokemon means pocket monster.
No, I know Pocket Monsters.
Right.
Pokemon.
That's part of
Pocket Pussy.
Close. Penis.
Penis?
It's
that's why
it's Japanese for penis, so it's penis monster.
That's why in the episode they're like, "Oh, you American, you have such big penis."
Exactly.
That's maybe like an inside joke with it.
Yes, that's what Pokemon means.
Or maybe that's just relevant. They say that to distract them, like, "What are you guys doing here with your Pokemon?" It says this kind of stuff, and he's like, "Oh, you American, you must have such big penis." Oh,
Exactly.
it's pretty good size. Yeah.
That's why they call it Pokemon.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a good random one.
Yeah.
See that stuff,
Dude,
like,
I went all kinds of like research into this shit because I'm like, he knows this. He knows. I'm pretty sure he knows this. If I know this, then he's gonna know this. And I didn't know that, so maybe I'll try that one out. And then, like I said, you've answered some throughout the episode today, so
Yeah.
you did very good.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, a lot of stuff you stumped me on because I had no idea, and there's so much that goes in every episode, so it's really hard to say. If there's South Park trivia, and I could go through it, I think they used to have a South Park trivia game you can buy. I always wanted to buy that and just sit down with Ashley and my family and try to go through it. But you have to have people that know South Park. It's like getting the Harry Potter
what
one.
I actually want to play?
What?
I want to play the what's it called? Not the Chef Aid, the other one. The one that looks like Mario Kart.
Oh, the one you could race around and stuff.
I forget the hell it's called.
I think that was made on.
That was 64. It was 64.
I played the one where you could throw the snowballs, the original 64 game. But there's another one that is like mini racing. I think I might have that.
It's just like Mario Kart. I mean, it's got the same premise as Mario Kart. Because I remember that. Remember the hooker was in there. She said $4 a blow, $3 a blow, $5 a suck, or something like that. Every time you passed her. I do. We gotta. I want to play that.
I can get you an emulator.
Please.
And we can play that. You
Please
can
do.
Put on your laptop and we play it.
Do that, or do something. I just because I saw somebody playing Mario Kart the other day. Go, man, that brings back so many fucking memories. And then I saw a commercial for South Park. I'm like, dude, they had that's right. They had a South Park game like that.
Something's cool.
I think it's South Park Racing. I can't remember.
I think it's what it is. South Park Racing is what it's called. I think that's exactly right. When I was a kid, not even just a kid, but lately, Lincoln's been playing. My son, he hasn't been sticking with one console lately, which has been great. So like in the house,
Cool.
I have Sega and I have Super Nintendo in his room, and he's been playing back and forth between them. But lately, it's been a lot Super Nintendo because of Mario. Because he's a little butthead, I got him a Nintendo Switch for Christmas.
South Park Rally.
South Park Rally, that's what it's called. There you go. I did have that game when I was a
It
kid.
was on PlayStation.
PlayStation, that's right. I remember. I'm talking about my son. Sorry, not I remember. He found the present. I had it hidden in a box somewhere, and he went in the back room. I guess doing something like trying to get our cat or something, and opened a box, and he found it in there. And he opened it up and started playing with it. I'm like, where the hell did you get that? So we got a Christmas present earlier, and I didn't tell him.
What was it? Sega?
No, it was Nintendo Switch.
Okay. Oh,
So
fuck.
now-
He found that.
He found that, but he didn't find all the games I got for it
Yeah,
yet. So
that's good.
I got a lot of games for it, but he's playing on my account with a bunch of games on it now. But a lot of Mario games, age appropriate games we
Right.
play. And like he's been going around playing all the games that you're saying, like Mario Kart or whatever. And like I have a Nintendo account, so he can go back and play all the throwbacks that have been ported over to the Switch. And he's playing them, and he's like, oh, I love this game. So, like, now he's playing other Mario Kart games or other games on 64 and stuff, and it's like, oh, this is cool. Like, he's not just sitting there hooked on PS5. He's not just hooked on playing the PC. Next thing
He plays everything.
He's playing everything, which I think is cool.
Cool.
But, yeah, it is cool watching him play 64 or in those games or anything because when he's playing, it's like, man, I want to play this game now. So like now we're playing together. Sometimes my wife does. I've brought that up before, whatever. That he's been playing games like that. But
Lila's starting to play now.
Yeah, Lila's starting to play a little bit, not really too much. She's still not really zoned. She at 3, she still hasn't really figured it out. But it's cool to relive playing those old games with your kids. Same thing like reliving like discovering South Park for my son or whatever. Like this is really cool. Discovering other games that were out there that were like before his time are cool. Just like with me and my dad, like discovering playing pinball and like asteroids and games that are arcade games are cool.
Right.
I still want to get it. My dad had an asteroids machine the other day, dude. I was looking at on eBay. I might buy one. And they make mini ones of it. Even though I had the mini arcade I made, I'd rather have one that's just designed just to play asteroids and that's it on it because it's just better designed just for that game. That's why I want it. But I don't know. There's something to it. Like you're saying, like you see those old games and like you want to play it. Like that's why I get.
It brings you back. Good time.
Good time. That's the same thing with South Park. The reason why I surround my room in it because it brings me back to that time when I was like, man, this was so cool. I remember the first time watching this episode. This was fucking hilarious. Or watching this with you or my sister or even my mom. Sometimes my mom would sit there and laugh and watch it. She'd be like, "You watching this?" And she's like, "That was funny what they actually said." Like I couldn't believe my mom actually laughed at that kind of stuff. My dad not as much. He'd never watched it with me. My older sister, hell no, would never watch it.
So Sarah never came down for nothing.
She never really came down and like bonded with us and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But at that age, dude, she was never there. She was always gone off and fucking doing her thing. But to me, there's so many good memories of South Park. So many funny things that happened through the years. Still to this now, like. Anytime someone sees something in South Park that doesn't even know me or does know me, I'm sorry, that does know me or the acquaintance, they'll send me stuff about it. Like, hey, did you see this? And it's like cool. Like people know that I like South Park. I don't care if people think that's weird. That's just who I. That's just part of who I am and stuff. So, and this podcast won't be for everybody. It'll be for people who like South Park. So if you don't like this one, skip it and go to the next one.
If you learn something, you listen to it. Whatever.
And there's only so much you can talk about with South Park. I mean, there's other things we can say, and talk about. I don't know if we've hit on, but I mean, just as a whole, there's other things that they have done that's been positive. I mean, like they've made appearances on TV shows or other things, just kind of like Beavis and Butthead have done. Yeah, which has been cool. I don't remember what they appeared on, but I remember they've made guest appearances on other things, or like their voiceovers have been in the stuff. Yeah. I mean, this wouldn't do justice without South Park saying this, but like most people don't know that Matt Stone and Trey Parker do 99% of the voices on South Park. Yeah, all of them. Yeah. His little brother Ike, Kyle's little brother Ike, is Trey Parker's daughter who does it. I guess you've seen all those reels that they've done on YouTube where they just watch them do the voices.
Yep, Dad says you're a pussy.
Yeah, dude, like those are so funny to watch because like just watching how many times they laugh before they can actually get the words out of their mouth.
Exactly.
It's just funny. You see those guys having fun, still in their 40s and 50s, laughing at the humor of shit that they're saying, and they have to. Takes them 10 takes to say one thing. I always find that shit funny.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the behind the scenes kind of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It like you said, with them they're trying to get the words out, trying to do the Chinese guys together, or the voices together, and then Kenny's voice, and just laughing their asses off before they can't say even a word.
The bloopers,
they don't even know what they're trying to say.
I wish they did more bloopers. You could watch funny things like it.
So do I.
I do think it was funny. Like if you didn't own the VHSs, and they don't even have these on the DVDs. I don't think it was only part of the VHS. And maybe I'm wrong, but maybe it is part of the DVDs for the season 1. Is
when they're on the carpet rug, or whatever.
On the rug, and every time they come back to them, the dog changes on the carpet or whatever. Yeah. And they did they got to talk about before every episode, and they did that for the first season. I think they did that, and I thought that was always funny. They always made me laugh. They would ask them like interview questions about whatever's going on, and they're always like being jokesters about whatever they're doing from the carpet.
Right. And even the movies that they didn't have, there wasn't South Park. We love basketball, but they had a couple.
Orgasmo.
Yeah, Orgasmo was great. Mm-hmm. Was it Cannibal the musical, whatever, that was good. Mm-hmm. Team America. I mean, come on. There's
we didn't mention that. Team America World Police, or World, was that right? Yeah. With puppets, dude, what a great idea!
Right.
They actually coined the frame too. I think someone said this is the Durka whatever is part of like one of the big ones they framed, and people they're like, that's a racist term, you can't use that. And they're like, well, South Park said it, and it was supposed to be funny. It's funny, right? Because they didn't speak their language, so like all they got out. Every time you listen to these people, all that sounds like they're saying is Durka. That's where they came up with it. Because someone's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, yeah, when you listen to these people, and they're like, "Oh, that's great. That's gold comedy right there."
Right.
It stuck with them and stuck with everybody else. I remember that was like, you can't say that. You can't say Durka Durka because that's fuck you guys. I always say Durka Durka.
Exactly. I still say it.
Say it to my friends now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I hate. I'm not going to say it on the podcast, but what I say, but we'll talk about that afterward. But that was just always something that stuck with me too. Is like the Durka Durka was always funny from that. But yeah, is there any other movies or shows they've made besides that?
At the top of my head, I can't think of anything. But yeah, like I said,
I know they're working on a movie, and I know their game's coming out. The South Park Snow Day, which was just going to be great. They went back to like the original graphics from the original one in '64. It's exciting. I know people are they're bitching because it's multiplayer, and it's like because they've always been single player games. And it's like cool. They're trying something different. Like you can play multiplayer and play with your friends. Like who's fucking crying
Is it like
about
a
this?
first? It's supposed to be like a first-person shooter kind of game where it's or Grand Theft Auto.
It's kind of more like GTA. It could be. I think it's top bottom up or top down game where it's kind of like you can either be first person or top down. I think it's going to be either that or maybe a third person. I really don't know. It's going to be something that spectrum, but I think it's kind of more like towards the first one where it was like a first person game. But I don't know if it's going to be considered a first person shooter by any means like that.
I didn't know what the right word for it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's going to be like back to their roots, what they did in '64, and it's going to be like kind of like 2D-ish, 3D-ish type funny shit. And you know, the reason I love the South Park games too, and anybody that's a South Park fan can appreciate them, especially the Stick of Truth or the was on the Butthole one, the Fractured Butthole, yeah. Is the game is like their TV show.
Exactly.
When you go through the game, you see clips through the episodes, and it's kind of like you're watching watching an episode, but playing the game. It's kind of cool. It goes like a double, and it serves as a double entendre in my opinion. And it kind of gives you that fan service of like, hey, I'm watching the show, but I'm actually playing it and living through the scenes when I'm going through it. It's just cool to me, especially when you have the cut scenes like Cartman's yelling and doing his jokes or whatever you hadn't seen before. Just stuff like that. Just
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it.
Actually, they did because their mobile game used to go along with the episodes that week sometimes.
Oh, they really?
Yeah, like the update or upgrade, whatever for that week would go along with the episode sometimes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I know because I play it.
I played the South Park Phone Destroyer game for a long time, but just so many microtransactions. I just couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't. It's just too much. I don't like pay to play or pay to win type of games. I mean, it's cool because it's South Park to me, but it was like, nah, man, this is just not worth the money. If you could buy the game for $15, $20, and you get every feature, I would have done that. A lot of people said that, like, you probably make more money, but in the world of microtransactions on your phone, they know that they're going to quadruple their sales because there's so many idiots and kids that are like, here's mom and dad's credit card. I'm just going to buy this, and this on it. And it's like, it's not worth it, even though how cool it is. Right. In South Park, or what we'll do is this, Kevin Smith came out that game. We're in, I forget what a game it was, mobile game with like, and they had a package where you can get Silent Bob and Jay in it and some other stuff. And it's like, this is cool, but same thing, microtransactions, not doing it.
Exactly.
Wouldn't be a podcast without mentioning Kevin
Smith.
That's
why I kind of like the Simpsons game because I've played it for almost 10 years now, and I've not paid for one thing, and I'm still playing.
Well, they should.
I did kind of cheat though. We won't talk. Well, I'll say it. I paid a guy $20. He hacked my game and gave me over like 500,000 something to help me along the way.
Well, which I was gonna say that's fine. They should be something where you can get like a feature, like you've been a customer for so long, or if you
they do that actually.
Yeah.
And if it's like the anniversary of you started the game, or if it's Christmas or your birthday, they'll give you stuff to help you out.
I think that's cool. I think also, if you want to, like they do a lot of kids' game, they're free, but you have to watch ads, which sucks.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch a 30-second ad and you get
We're
something
used
out
to
of it,
commercials anyway.
no shit, got it. I mean, they put commercial and ads in everything.
Yeah.
I love that episode.
Speaking of that, we are paid by sponsored by.
We're sponsored by South Park. I love the episode where
the freemium.
The freemium with the ads or whatever, and the girl's a walking ad that walks around as his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's fucking great because that was kind of the whole truth to like the way it is now. Like there is ads in everything, and like that's my girlfriend, not an ad. Like no, she's a walking ad, and like I don't know, just it was a good running joke into the show.
Right.
But yeah, man, South Park as a whole.
Yeah.
So many good things, so many good times I've went through my life. So many times where I've been depressed or not really depressed, just down, and it's like South Park would bring me happiness, or I put it on as background noise and I can just jump in and watch it at any time and listen to it. I wouldn't do any other justice at saying this too is, dude, the mall days of just going to the mall I would look forward just going to Spencer Gifts just to look at the South Park wall. I know we talked about it before, but they were the only store at the time that carried their merch. Don't know why. Don't know how Spencer got their merch. Probably because they're the only people that would actually allow that in their store because of how raunchy and shit it was. But my mom knew when we're going to Spencer's, if we went in there, I was getting something in South Park. Either I was buying it or I was stealing it. One of the two.
Exactly.
I was having Tim sticking in his pants for me or something, something small. But
plenty of room.
yeah, I mean, I just so many toys I got when I was a kid. I still have to this day. A lot of them I lost or that ripped. So many cool posters I got.
Yeah.
The posters were really big back then. I had so many cool like nostalgic posters. And if you go look up their posters now, like those original like posters from like 97, 98, they're like $100.
Yeah.
And they're good. And even if they have a rip in them, they're like, oh, this is $100, and people pay for them. I'm like, holy fuck, I'm not paying $100 for a poster, but it does bring back good memories.
Yeah.
They had one like the Many Deaths of Kenny was always like a cool one I always liked.
Nice.
I think I had that one at a point in time. I used to have their blow up furniture. I had the single couch and the double couch, whatever, in my basement until my friends popped it. I think I've said that story before, but just shit like that. I used to have the Cartman in South Park remote thing where every time you change the channel, they made noises.
Yeah.
It get kind of annoying after a while, but it was funny.
Right.
And then I think they had a Simpsons one, then Beavis and Butthead one. They did that too.
Beavis and Butthead did.
Stuff like that was cool. I wish they would continue to make merch like that for kids and stuff, but yeah, I used to love going through all the South Park merch. That brought me a lot of happiness.
Now it's
dude.
Funkos.
Huh?
So now it's Funkos.
Funkos, and I'm glad you keep up on it just as much as I do. Like I followed something on Reddit with the Funkos, and it's like a South Park Funko Reddit channel or sub channel or whatever.
Yeah.
And anytime a new one comes out or someone leaks something, that's where I get it. I'll have like alerts on it because I'm like, oh, I got to get these right away. And I was an idiot because I overpaid for those ones that came out right away. The last ones with the CD and everything, I bought a good price, but the original Funkos I got like 5 weeks early or 6 weeks early before release because somebody got them early. I didn't know. I thought they were just coming out or whatever. I bought them early, and I was like, oh man, I overpaid by like $40 or $30, but I had them and I didn't care.
Yeah.
I still got them, and they're in pristine condition.
Right. So
You know, that's what you do when you're a super fan. You buy dumb shit that you don't need. How many things I
let
own
it sit there.
Huh?
Let it sit there and not do anything with it.
Yeah. Just so much stuff about South Park, man. Yeah. Is there anything else that we didn't hit South Park?
I think we hit pretty much everything. I mean, we've hit a lot.
Did you bring a random question or topic at the end? Besides
that was the quiz for you.
Oh, that's stupid. I wanted a random question at the end, you idiot.
Well, I could think of one if you keep talking about something else.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll come up with one because we got.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You talk, and I'll look up, think of one.
You talk. It's a podcast. You talk.
How am I supposed to talk and think at the same time?
I don't know. I guess another question. I think I did write down. Let me pull up my questions. With South Park, or maybe it's just a random question in general. Is I lost my train of thought where it was. Man, I'm dying here, Tim.
All right, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Knowing of all the South Park characters you had,
Mm-hmm.
knowing all the family members that you have,
Mm-hmm.
who is who?
That's good. Let's see.
I'm obviously Cartman.
You're obviously. I was gonna say you're obviously Cartman in our family. My sister,
Which one?
Ashley, it's probably Shelly.
Okay.
If I had to guess, out of the two, I would probably Stan.
I can see that.
Kyle. I don't have another brother like in my family or anything like that. But if I had
a coworker or something,
no.
Is it anybody you know?
Kyle to me, a Jewish kid.
Tommy.
Tommy, no.
Tommy's Butters.
Yeah. Tommy's definitely no. Maybe he's
Lincoln could be Butters.
Lincoln, Kenny, the poor kid in the street. That was probably in my street. That was probably Rory Butler. Was probably Kenny. If I'm going back to my fucking old friends.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know anybody in my street.
Mimsy could be what's his name? Eckert.
Eckert could be definitely do Mimsy. Let's see, like Token Black. I didn't have really a black friend.
Actually, I have a Token Black kid on my phone, or on Facebook. Josh.
And the joke, my sister nowadays, she's a strong woman, so she's she's Heather Swanson because she power lifted my phone. So that's like funny growing up or whatever.
That's still in my phone too.
I know she gets mad about that sometimes. She thinks it's funny. We talk about it. My sister's like, "Why?"
Who's Sarah?
Who's Sarah? I'd have to say all the women in there. She's probably Kyle's mom.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
It's always like screaming, always wanting to get to intervene and
Is
stuff.
that or
Helicopter,
Wendy?
huh?
That or Wendy?
No, because Stan dates Wendy, so
Yeah,
no, that's
true.
weird.
We're just saying who's who. We're not saying it's gonna happen.
No, I know, but I guess I'm getting way too in characters
Yeah.
now.
How about your mom?
My mom is definitely, I'd have to say, Stan's mom.
I can see that.
Randy, who was after actually one of their dads too, was a geologist. I know after all their family. It's definitely not my dad.
No,
but
definitely not.
No. I don't know who's Randy. Randy's a really hard character. Yeah, he's just.
Well, you could just say a family member, who family members are instead of going the other way.
I don't know.
Well, it's easier.
How about you?
Who Lila could be then? Lila could be like Bebe or something.
Yeah. What about you and your family? Anybody?
I ain't got much of a family left over.
Well, your family. If they had your family around.
Let's see. If my family was around.
May's Barbara Streisand.
Oh, goddamn, yes, she is.
She's Barbara Streisand. Her
Definitely. My mom would probably be. The first half of my life, she would be Stan's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Second half of my life, she would be Cartman's mom. Because she's buried with White Canyon.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift.
Yeah.
I'd still be Cartman, or part of my life I'd be Timmy.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely Timmy in the second life of your family. I was going to say Timmy earlier too.
My brother, I could see being a Butters, but if he doesn't do Professor Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. My Aunt Debbie, who I love very dearly, she could be Stan's mom because she's kind of a disciplinarian in a way. Let's see. Jen could be so many people. Jen could be Wendy a lot, or even Kyle's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom could be. I don't know. She's kind of goofy, but she's like me, but not. Not as extreme.
Right.
So it'd be hard to say who she is. My Uncle Ralph would have been Kenny's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Mary would have been Kenny's mom. Let's see.
These are people I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of people you would know. If I had to do your family, I would say your mom would definitely be Stan's mom.
Definitely.
Or it mixed with Kyle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle's mom. Ashley would be more of a Kyle.
Think it should be Kyle?
Yeah.
Because she kind of mimics me.
Yeah, a little bit. You definitely would be Stan.
Yeah.
Sarah, she's.
Or I'm Randy Marsh.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Sarah a lot would there's parts of people, but I see Wendy a lot. Wendy and Kyle's mom.
She's a mix. She's a
because she wants to be in charge of everything, whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, leave it at that.
Your dad, I don't know who your dad could be. It's just if I can't say Uncle Jimbo because he's not really a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Barb Brady, no, he's not stupid. It's hard to say who your dad would be.
Mm-hmm.
I really cannot think of somebody who your dad could be.
I don't know either. That's I don't. Maybe
I mean, out of all the people they've had, I really don't know.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. They're all the characters I know. They're in there.
Let's think about that one for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean
that's a hard one.
There's anybody that's a car salesman or a finance guy or anything like that in there, but
right.
No, I don't know.
We'll think about that.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
So anyway.
Anyway.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. That's you got anything else?
I was gonna say, for a random question at the end, I think I had one. I wrote it down. I'm looking through it through my homework of notes.
Mm-hmm.
If South Park impacted my life, was there a I know it kind of gets bleeds together with the other one, but we can answer it anyway. Was there any other show besides South Park that impacted your life? Thinking of The Simpsons or like a cartoon or like an actual show that you watched growing up that you could say that was positive, negative, or anything like that on your life?
There's a lot. I think Roseanne because positively because that family was literally my family minus when I had two children. Beavis and Butthead, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
my attitude towards things and the musical taste. um, Married with Children did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally wanted to be Al Bundy, making fun of fat women coming into the store, or just making fun of people. Period, to come in the store, which I did for like the longest time. Any job I had, I
Dude, some of
picked on somebody.
some of those clips of Al Bundy still hold up to this day.
Oh yeah,
They're fucking hilarious.
and that show would not fly this day and age.
Oh, not at all.
Not that with that humor. I know they're bringing back a cartoon version of it,
Mm-hmm.
but that version of it would not hold up.
They would say it was too sexist.
Yeah,
You know.
a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and very pretty girls.
He was just being a real man.
Oh, yeah. Basically, yeah. It's a man's world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could say a lot of sitcoms in the 80s and 90s that affected me a lot. Like I said, a lot of it's to do with my humor.
Mm-hmm.
I could see what's funny and and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, that's why I didn't ask the question earlier, because it kind of was like, it's kind of hits on the other topic, whatever. The same thing I already asked you, but I asked it anyway because we've always grown up watching a lot of TV shows and stuff like that. South Park was probably my biggest one,
Yeah.
but for like a TV show in general, outside of South Park, man, I don't know. There was just so many that I watched. I don't know if one really influenced me in a positive way or a negative way, but I have to say South Park was probably my biggest one from cartoon. Obviously, I don't know if that's even counts as a TV show to some people, but to me it does.
Meh, it does.
It's not a sitcom or anything like that, but growing up, like you're saying, like the Fresh Prince and all the other stuff we
God.
watched when we were kids, or that '70s show, and
I could actually say I have not watched a lot of Fresh Prince.
I didn't watch a lot either. I'd have to say Saved by the Bell. I fucking love.
Did not watch
I
that.
liked Saved by the Bell when I was growing up.
Never watched that.
I always did.
Never ever.
Just grew up watching Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Just one of those shows I liked growing up, man. Was because I was young and it was just.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just easy to watch, easy to understand. I think that's what it was, and some of the characters,
Yeah.
huh?
Relatable.
Relatable. Yeah. Everybody knew a Zach Morris in school, the popular one, the popular, good-looking guy. Everybody knew a Kelly Kapowski, which she's fucking still hot to this day.
Right.
Lisa Turtle. Everybody knew someone that was a Lisa Turtle in school, good-looking, but also
Screech. Everybody knew Screech.
everybody knew Screech, and everybody knew what's her name, the taller one that was
Yeah.
athletic, whatever. You knew that nerdy but good-looking girl, but they all hung out together in their clique.
Yeah.
And you knew the jock, the athletic person, the dork, whatever. It was relatable because that's how school kind of was. I mean, there was no social media or nothing. That was how.
Yeah, that's how we were.
Things were
not a
influenced.
phone in sight, living the life, living the dream.
Well, I'll just make this into a topic because it kind of bleeds into it or whatever, or just a question randomly. Do you think the social trends nowadays at school still conform to the traditional ones that were a kid? I mean, I know I've brought it up in the podcast saying people I've known, I've talked to about it, but growing up and seeing how stuff that happened in high school when you're a kid, or even back in the Saved by the Bell days in the 90s or 80s, do you think those social conformities, I guess, for children are still this way now in high school, or do you think it's changed, or do you think?
I think it's changed.
Well, yeah.
From what I know of just working in a school,
Oh yeah, you work in a school,
Yeah.
duh. But that's college though. I mean, that's still a little
Yeah.
different than a high school.
it
or
is a
grade
little
school.
different, yes, but still you don't see as many cliques. You don't see as many kids hanging out together. You could tell who's best friends and who's not because they walk to class together or something like that. But pretty much people are not seeing people as friends; they're seeing them as just classmates.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hang out with each other. If there's a project, that people didn't do their part. There was no togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
There was no socialism, so to say. And I thought that's pretty sad because we had our cliques, we had our peeps that we hang out with and meet at the flagpole or what have you. But I don't see from working in a college. I don't see it.
Well, I guess I could be the devil's advocate here and saying college, most people don't have cliques to hang out with unless they're part of a social constructive group like a fraternity or sorority, or they're part of the football team or something like that. They might hang out with everybody in the football team, but having a close group of friends that are part of a clique might be the only thing they do. They might have 3 or 4 close friends, they all hang out, but walking on the halls, everybody's got different classes, different schedules.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's not like in high school where you walked in the hallway and you could see all your friends and shoot the shit for 5 minutes before you get to class. And you knew after class they would hang out in the hallways together, which I think was more true when we were kids. They got longer times to hang out in the hallways. Nowadays, kids are oh, you gotta run from classroom to classroom. You might see everybody and say what's up in the hallway. And I remember in high school, going class to class, like the kids that are always the mischievous ones or whatever, they always wanted to be rebellious. They would hang out in the hallway until the bell rang, and they thought it was cool getting the tardies or getting whatever. It's like okay. But
so
like,
cool.
yeah, it's so cool. Like before school, like in after school, people get to school early so they can hang out with their friends early in the hallways, or they get dropped off early and they would shoot the shit for 15 minutes. I would do that, and you would see the cliques of group people like in a circle.
Yeah.
The girls that hang out with the girls, the athletic people that hang out with the athletic people, the nerds and everybody
the
else.
Goths, the Mansonites.
I'm sure that still happens at school nowadays. Yeah. But I did hear from my buddy Tommy down the street that it's less cliquey. He sees it, but not as much. But he just said everybody is cool with everybody. But I guarantee you it still does happen. But I bet it does happen less often. I bet it's not as much like it used to be. Like those social stereotypes of people they're still there, but they're not as much in school as they used to be. It's like people try to, I guess, probably be. I'm not saying. Let me rephrase this. They still have them. They still have bullies. They still have people that are assholes and stuff like that. But I guarantee it's not as often as we used to see. But now that I think about it, I've seen more trends of people going viral, or like white kids or black kids getting beat up in like what's it called, like a bathroom or something randomly. And it's like I see viral videos that I think I see more people doing viral stuff on phones. They'll see the kids like TikToking on the hallway and doing shit. And it's like, okay, I'm glad we didn't grow up in this era. Like I would be upset if like I came to school, my friends were doing like a TikTok video. It's not High School Musical. Right? Exactly. I want to go through the hallways doing that kind of shit. But there's a lot of kids that's what they live. That's how they socialize. That's what they know. That's how they get their endorphins going, or their fix, or you could say, or that's what their vice is, doing that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I guess things have changed. You see it in college. I don't know if people TikTok and do shit in college. I'm sure they do.
Oh yeah, they do.
But do they in classes or anything like that?
Oh yeah, like, especially like when the Pokemon game came out, there were kids disrupting classes because there was a Pokemon in the classroom. They would just sit there and walk in. The teacher would be like, "What's going on here?" And they'd catch the Pokemon and they leave. They're not saying a word.
I could definitely see that, and I could definitely see like in colleges too, everybody be on their fucking phone and not paying attention at all. And same thing in high schools. And
a lot of them are on their computers on Facebook when not paying attention. Instead of math class stuff like that, and they wonder where they fail. It's just kids' attention spans are nanoseconds now. They don't give a shit.
It's measured in nanoseconds.
Exactly.
The funny thing you say about that too is I was in a Discord channel the other day, and anybody doesn't know Discord, it's a voice channel. You can speak with your friends and be a gamer and a dork. So get on one, enjoy life.
Be a dork.
I got in there and he goes, "Oh, this movie," or I sent a video and he's like, "Oh, this video is 5 minutes." He's like, "I don't want to watch that. It's too long." I'm like, "You're a."
5 minutes is long.
That's what he said. I'm like, dude, 5 minutes is nothing. It's like videos we used to send were like 30 minutes when we were kids. Like you had to watch or something. That's 5 minutes. He's like, I want to watch something with a minute or two, like explanation. Like, dude, I was like, dude, I want to just tell you to kill yourself. Like, 5 minutes is nothing.
I want to quote. Okay, I want to quote the Queen movie. I don't know if you've seen Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I have.
You have. It's like whenever they send the song Bohemian Rhapsody to the radio guy or whatever, the record producer, he's
Mike
like,
Myers.
he said the song is too long. He's like, well, Freddie Mercury's like, then let's call your wife and ask her if 6 minutes is too long. 30 minutes is too long. Okay, let's call your wife and say, or that 5 minutes is too long, or whatever.
No one's gonna listen to this.
Yeah, no one's gonna listen to it. Yeah. Exactly.
And then it became their most popular song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Took them a while, but yes.
Yeah. But either way, that's good.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, I like that.
And I'm going through life. I wasn't a huge Queen fan by any means. I didn't grow up with Queen, but like I appreciate their music and I appreciate the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of stuff about him, Freddie Mercury, after going through that movie. And I think what's his name did a great job playing Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. I know not right. Something.
Yeah, I like him because I liked him in Mr. Robot.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I love Mr. Robot. I could watch it any fucking time. Such a weird show, but like there's so many things that I'm like, this guy is so super intelligent and smart. That's how probably those people really are. They're that intelligent. They're but yeah, the school thing I just brought up because I just thought it was a cool random topic. But, yeah. So I don't like ending the podcast. I was gonna keep going. So many cool things to talk about.
Oh, we got to save stuff for next time.
I don't want to save things for next time.
Yeah, we got to save it.
Okay.
We have to.
All right.
Get them coming back.
Huh?
Get people coming back. Save shit for next time.
Yeah. Well, I know this was a different podcast. South Park, whatever. It's more of a theme one, kind of like we did with Kevin Smith or whatever. And Tim picked this one out. So if you guys don't like it, you can hate on him about it. But
bring it.
For the people who have never experienced South Park, and you know who I'm talking to, go watch some episodes, man. Just you know, for me, for yourself, to experience it. Don't be so close-minded. Enjoy some cartoons. I mean, we're only getting older. I mean, there shouldn't be an age limit set to anything unless it's really catered towards kids. Like, I'm not gonna go watch fucking Teletubbies now that I'm 36 years old, right? Like, I understand that, or Barney or something like that. So, like,
Oh God.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if there's adult cartoon, give it a chance. Who knows? I mean, I watch movies that I hate, rom-coms and shit like that, and I give it a chance. Sometimes I end up liking them. Sometimes I end up hating them because I just know they're not for me.
Right.
You know, so that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Go out and watch movies. Watch films. I mean, shit.
Watch movies, buy physical media. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it every podcast now to keep stuff alive. I'm not saying go out and buy millions of DVDs or stuff, but if you got a chance, start buying physical stuff, go ahead, because I don't want to give it to the man anymore. I don't want them sticking it to me where they get stuck now. I mean, you look at cable prices now and TV prices, like everyone's getting rid of it, but like now with all the shit you're buying through, you know, YouTube TV and those little things here, you look at your cable bill and your internet bill, it equals out to the same thing you're paying for cable TV almost. Like,
Pretty much, yeah.
you know, if you bundle internet by itself, you're paying, depending on what service you get, you're literally paying $50 to $100 after the first year. You know, after you get that deal that goes away, whatever. After a year, you're like, oh, it's $50 now. After a year, it's $75. Now it's $100. There's $100 for internet,
Right.
and then you pay 5 social, you know, streaming networks $5 or $7 a month. So add that up, it's $35 to $50 a month. There you go. There's $150 for what you're just paying for.
Right.
You're like, oh, I thought we were trying to save money. Well, we did for a year, and now we're back to paying the same price as we were before.
Exactly.
It's a fucking game. I hate that too. So
Yeah.
I was telling my my friend the other day, it's like if someone was smart enough, they would go in front of these cable companies and say, look, bundle your shit together, make it affordable, make internet and TV, and make it a fixed price of $100. $100, I pay internet and TV for $100 a month. That's because I love TV and I like stuff. And honestly, I don't want to get an antenna and all this other shit. I'd rather have a box or something that gets me all my channels and does it. I'm just old school. I don't care.
Right.
I don't want to pay a million people and then they have to pay all these fucking streaming services, and then, you know, like I was saying earlier, they cut ties because they didn't pay this. Just the same thing with physical media. They'll, oh, we didn't pay Paramount this month, so now they're no longer available on this. Right now, we're going through something with Channel 5. You remember earlier this year, Channel 2 was cut off from everybody? Now Channel 5 is cut off from everybody.
Yeah, I heard that.
And it's like, cool. Like, why?
Whatever. Yeah.
Huh?
Whatever.
I don't know. So I'm ranting now. Sorry.
Yes, you are.
All right. Well, until next time, kitty, stay scared. I say that just to piss off Tim because that's my saying.
You know, piss you off. It makes you laugh. Remember, kitties. You forgot that part.
Remember kitties. No, I said kitty, stay scared.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
You messed it up on purpose.
I do it my way.
Yeah.
I have my own way. What's your way?
Until next time, remember, kitties, stay scared.
Yeah. Who else says that?
Nobody.
Oh.
If anything, stay scared was, I've seen it. What movie was that? John Cusack was in it. 1408.
Love 1408.
He says it in there, but I've also seen George Romero and Night of the Living Dead guy. That's how he used to sign his autograph, was Stay Scared.
Really?
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
You signed it at the radio station like that?
Yeah. That's where I got it from.
Or do you say it on your Facebook channel?
That too.
You do say it there.
I say it everywhere.
I know. You say it to Jen?
No. Well, I have, but not, I haven't. In a while.
How about Lemmy?
Let me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's always scared.
She is scared. I walked in the door and she got scared until I walked downstairs. All right. That's it, guys. We're going to wrap up the podcast. South Park. Love it or hate it. Give us some feedback. Subscribe to our channel.
Like us.
If you don't like us, at least give us some feedback and tell us why you don't like us.
Right. We don't care.
Yeah.
Bitches.
So, bitches. Sleep.
Later. How long is that one?